Welcome to The Pulse. This broadcast is also live on DSTV channel 42 and GoTV, channel 125, and on all our social media handles. We are joining you on TV. Coming up, Speaker of Parliament suspends sittings of Parliament for 3 days to use the Chamber of Parliament to host anti-LGBTQ conference. We have details. A stalemate deepens between the Speaker and the majority over the bill's way forward as key stakeholders increasingly align with the Speaker's position. Leaders of African parliaments caution against external influence on family value systems as speakers of parliaments from across the continent gather here in Accra for the 4th Interparliamentary Conference.
The African people to legislate for ourselves without fear or pressure. It means Parliament, not foreign capitals, decide what is best for the African children.
We've got details from Parliament where General Overseer of the Action Chapel International, Archbishop Duncan Williams, calls for unity among countries of the continent.
Country is required. It's a necessary ingredient that irrespective of our resources, our gold, our oil, and our minerals, if we fail to love country, we will achieve nothing.
11 years after the June 3rd twin disaster, Ghana remembers the more than 150 lives lost in the flood and fire tragedy at Circle as questions remain over whether the country has learned the lessons.
He has really been arrested yet. No one has been really held accountable for a loss that was clearly avoidable. That people really failed to actually exercise their duty of care and their responsibility of care.
We'll look back at the heroism, the pain, and the reforms still needed to prevent another such disaster. Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital adopts strategic collaborations with peripheral hospitals in Ashanti region to manage emergency cases after temporary suspension of new cases at its emergency and accident center over congestion concerns. The latest of these and many other stories are coming up in the next 3 hours. The Pulse is brought to you by Defendro Cough Expectorant. Defendro, breathe easy, feel better. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. See you in a moment.
Let me share my wildlife experience with you at Safari Valley Eco Park.
Welcome to Safari Valley Eco Park.
Our electric shuttle pulled up and in no time our tour began. We were surrounded by wildlife from the moment we entered the Eco Park. We were greeted by experienced tour guides who took us through orientation and how to better enjoy the experience. Watch these animals roam freely in their natural habitat undisturbed by our presence. We saw zebras, sable antelope, brown crane, mara, silky chicken, nyalas, Shetland ponies, and so many animals I just couldn't keep up. Our tour guides taught us so much about the wildlife, their behavior, and how to interact with them. I even fed them. We also went fishing on a man-made canal. Then we took a break to have lunch in this serene environment. All this amazing experience for this price for adults? This price for teenagers. It's a bargain. As the sun began to set, it was time to go back home, but not before dinner by the campfire. It has been a thrill of a lifetime, and I can't wait till my next visit.
Safari Valley Eco Park, bringing you closer to nature.
Another week is here on the greatest of all time show. My name is Giovanni Clip, and tonight we're bringing you talent. Contestant number 1, let's bring Baby Girl. Let's bring. You did it for you.
Cut. Oh, there is a leakage.
Where's the plumber? For quality and durability, insist on Syntex pipes.
If you want quality, this be where you belong.
Strong, tough, and reliable. Your perfect match to your trusted Syntex pipe. Syntex pipe, it they carry water. No wahala. Syntex pipe. It they make water they flow. Syntax, and you're strong, and you're tough.
Hello, my name is Pamela from Customer Service. Please revalidate your account by texting your Ghana card number to 0500,247.
Hey, Abili, wabedim.
Madam, give me the numbers behind your ATM card. I'm calling from the head office.
An email was delivered across to our customers this morning.
Confirm if this is your bank account. 100,100,100.
Thanks for sending your bank card details.
Send the OTP now to avoid cancellation.
EcoBank will never call, email, send an SMS asking for your PIN, OTP, bank card, or Ghana card details.
Don't get played. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Hello, please, I'm calling from Customer Experience Center.
Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
Cadbury Hot Chocolate. Crafted from cocoa, milk, and sugar. Creamy, chocolatey, frothy goodness, rich taste, so satisfying.
Cadbury goodness, the treats you deserve every day.
Did you know that Ghana currently spends more than 8 billion Ghana cedis annually importing food that can be produced locally? That is why this June, Joy Business and the Super Morning Show, in partnership with the Federation of Associations of Ghanaian Exporters, FAGE, bring you the Joy Agribusiness Month 2026 under the theme From Soil to Sovereignty, Building Ghana's Agricultural Self-Reliance Through Innovation. Join us on the Joy Super Morning Show, Joy News, and across Joy Business platforms for a month-long national conversation on Ghana's food security and agribusiness future. Week 1 focuses on government policy, trade and financing for food sovereignty. Week 2 explores research, innovation, mechanization and live coverage of the Ghana Horticulture Expo 2026 from the 11th to the 13th of June at the State House forecourt. Week 3 examines infrastructure, value addition, youth participation and agricultural financing, while Week 4 highlights opportunities across key horticulture value chains. The final week looks at consumer power and Ghana's roadmap to food sovereignty by 2030. Stay tuned to Joy FM and Joy News.
On PM Express, power is confronted, claims are tested, and accountability is not optional.
The first 2 months in office between January, February, and March, we had already brought down this rate, and then we have sustained it since.
Politics, business, the economy, social justice. If it affects your life, it will be examined. If it shapes your future, it will be interrogated.
You ever sitting there today and you see me sweating, I'm answering your question, you in the comfort of your chair putting all these questions to me. That is why you would not have the responsibility of bringing about this document.
No safe spaces for evasion, no comfort in half-truths, just facts, pressure, and the courage to stay with the question until the answer comes.
Your word says,
my words were,
those
listen,
on Compact Plus, you pay 570 and you get more channels.
Evans,
that moves you.
This is the speech.
To the
speech I read yesterday is what I'm holding here. You didn't read the speech. You didn't write it. I wrote it and I read it.
Because democracy demands scrutiny and the public deserves clarity. When the day's noise fades and the nation needs understanding, there is PM Express on Joy News. Independent, fearless, credible.
Good afternoon. On this day, 11 years ago, Ghana was forced to confront one of its darkest moments in its recent history, the June 3rd twin disaster. What began as hours of heavy rainfall in Accra turned into a deadly flood and fire tragedy at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle Goyle filling station, claiming more than 150 lives and leaving many others injured. And this afternoon, we'll look back at the pain, the heroism and the unanswered questions and the lessons Ghana is still struggling to learn. Here's Ramat Bashiru with our total recall of the June 3rd disaster.
So pity. Even can't control myself, but still, I need to try my best.
It's been 11 years since the twin disaster that brought Ghana to a standstill. Flood and fire. More than 150 people were killed, with many others injured. But beyond the pain and destruction, that night also revealed something powerful. Strangers became rescuers, and ordinary people risked their lives to save others. Ghana stood together on that tragic night. Yet, 11 years on, one question still remains. Have we truly learned the lessons?
I was standing by the window there. The fire came from the left side. And another one made it. And then it drew the iron gates down there. The whole building was shaking. I thought it was collapsed.
We heard the military crying, where are you? Where are you people? And we said, we are here. So they came up and they told us that, you see, this time is between life and death.
It happened on Wednesday, June 3, 2015. After hours of heavy rainfall, several parts of Accra were submerged. The Kwame Nkrumah Circle area was one of the worst affected. Many people had taken shelter at the Goyle filling station, hoping to escape the rain. But unknown to them, fuel leaking from an underground tank had mixed with the flood waters. Then came a spark. The filling station exploded. Panic, screams, and devastation followed.
Immediately, I jumped inside the water to save them. There was a fire explode. So my whole shop, people, television that I replay, water carried some burn. The whole shop started burning. That I got burned on my legs.
In a matter of minutes, more than 150 lives were lost.
Life is catastrophic, almost unprecedented. We'll leave the city authorities and the emergency services to continue to do their work.
Investigations later showed that the incident was preventable. Poor drainage system, buildings on waterways, weak enforcement of regulations, and poor urban planning all contributed to the scale of the disaster. What should have been a heavy downpour became a national catastrophe because the system simply failed.
Many other Ghanaians were trapped in the traffic chaos that occurred as a result of the high water in many areas. A tragedy of this magnitude requires a strong and concerted response, and that is what government and many Ghanaians are currently offering.
In the days that followed, government announced a 50 million CD recovery fund. DNA testing was ordered to help identify victims, while emergency services moved in to clear the area and support affected families. For a brief moment, there was unity, urgency, and a national commitment to change. But 11 years later, the concerns remain painfully familiar. Just weeks ago, heavy rains again caused severe flooding in parts of Accra. Families were displaced, roads turned into rivers, businesses were disrupted. After the June 3 disaster, government commissioned a 197-page report detailing the causes of the tragedy, the risk facing Accra, and recommendations to prevent another disaster. But many of the core problems remain unresolved. So what must change?
June 3rd disaster, Kwame Nkrumah Circle. Tell me what actions have been learned. Tell me who has been punished. Work as usual. right? Somebody's construction, and then another person's fuel station, when he refused to adhere to the protocols, led to fire.
Experts say Ghana must go beyond emergency response after every flood, because with every raining season, the risks of another June 3 remains. 11 years on, too little has changed. We remember the victims, we honor the heroes. But remembrance must lead to reform. Otherwise, Ghana may only be waiting for the next disaster. Ramat Bashiru for Joy News.
And 11 years on, victims of the June 3rd twin disaster say little has changed. Many claim they are yet to receive compensation and continue to live with the physical, emotional, and economic impact of the tragedy. We will hear from them directly here on The Pulse. But first, let's take you back to the recommendations by the committee set up to probe the disaster at the time. Here are those recommendations on your screen. So 11 years ago, these things were recommended by the 5-member presidential committee to investigate the disaster. And this is the context of the disaster, how it happened as it happened. So the tragedy occurred after several hours of torrential rainfall in Accra, and during the downpour, fuel leakage from the Goyle filling station at the Kwame Nkrumah Circle caught fire from a cigarette stub near the area, resulting in an explosion alongside the flood. The death toll was 154, so 154 persons sadly lost their lives on the day. And these are data that we collected from the 5-member presidential committee to investigate the disaster at that time. And the cost of goods destroyed, again, according to the Auditor General report, is 1.65 million Ghana cedis. So these were the key recommendations by the committee at the time. They recommended the dredging of the Odo River and the Kole Lagoon regularly. They also recommended the redesign of Accra's open gutters into large underground drains. And also they called for a strict ban on plastic bags and penalized littering in drains, and mandatory automatic shut-off valves and leak detectors at fuel stations. They recommended that they stop the licensing of filling stations in flood-prone or crowded areas. They recommended the equipping of the fire service and NAPMA with specialized rescue gear. They also recommended the establishing of a permanent national disaster relief fund for victims. They recommended that there be a launch of a continuous nationwide public safety and flood education campaigns. So these were the recommendations that were given by the committee that were set up 11 years ago to probe the circumstances that led to that unfortunate disaster. And the spokesperson of the Ghana National Fire Service, Alex Kenate, has been providing some details regarding what has changed 11 years on.
I would say it's still not good enough. I would again say that the fact that we've not recorded any such incidents, again, it's not, I won't say as a result of better planning, it's lack.
Okay.
Because a lot still remains. Government still has a lot to do. You know, even us as people, it's disheartening to see people still dumping loads of refuse in drainage systems every time, you know, it rains. They're all part of the problems. The government is doing well. We see a lot of desilting going on. We see a lot of drains being constructed. But when drains are constructed and people keep doing the same old thing, we'll be back here discussing this same problem years down the line. So I would say we still have a long way to go.
Okay. Well, you mentioned that if no matter what we do, if people still continue doing what they used to do, we'll still be here talking about this. What are some of the common violations that, as a country or as a people, we do? We see this in the fueling stations or fuel stations, businesses, entities. How difficult has it been in fighting such kind of situations?
Okay, so as a service, we always make our recommendations. At the assembly level, we make inputs, but at a certain level at the assembly phase, we do not get to make decisions. So when we make some of these recommendations, a lot of times some assemblies decide to overlook the recommendations we've made for reasons best known to them. We've always been against building of filling stations in residential areas, or again, building of filling stations in flood-prone areas.
Okay.
Because when filling stations are sited in flood-prone areas, these filling stations, when they are not properly secured down there, they end up mixing with these floodwaters. And then when they spread and come up on the surface, then they become highly energized, so to speak, and then any little spark can start a problem. So the fact that they are demolishing buildings on waterways, I think they should be steps should be made to make sure that some of these filling stations who are even building in waterways should also be demolished. And I believe that if punitive measures that are instigated or that are instituted against defaulting filling stations are increased, if there's financial penalty, it's much greater than the profits they are making.
Yeah.
They'll be forced to think twice. But imagine a filling station is making maybe 10 million Ghana cedis in profits, and the penalty is just a slap on the wrist. It means that, you can probably make budgets for some of these penalties and continue making profits at the expense of a larger community. So I believe that when some of these assemblies make some bold steps, we should be able to ensure that such a disaster does not happen again.
That's Alex Kinate. He's a member of the PR unit of the fire service. And may the souls of the over 150 lives lost continue to rest in peace, and may their memories be a blessing. And let's have a conversation with some of the lucky ones who survived the day. They're joining me in the studio, Alex Mensah and Kasim Suraj. We're going to have a conversation in Twi, and then I will summarize it in English for us. Alex, me share for you. So we'll share video no. Ye video no 11 years ago shared this year. Again about him now share video this year.
Mira hopa vima medilwa na mesambe hwe video no.
Raho.
Asan kai me namfofo a omusan ka baabi.
Kasim na unso e.
Ba jami so sa me wuro mahasin me hu agya na pe na me kan me yire. Na sada na me yire na nam ene me ba. Ba mo de mo ahro mo kan agya mu. Ndi Mr. Nyam Yakupon say nde 11 years Yakupon form share baby pa and form share Abraham Kukum. Yen so your bon pa say awon him na ye wom no Yakupon ma 11 years we bibia antimi enkoyima. Areho sempa na esi sada no na esi afenche ba sisia na 11 years aba me pese ye bon kompo kohwe ye chi 11 years no. Kasim now ko he na ede na de ko pie sa filling station wo mpacho na me ye driver ni ma ponji makura me ko do fie me do fie na me se nso da so to enti me so me saba me chi e wo station wo e be fa me yere ton de wo station wo nti me fa na me so me diesel na ba from ti ma me mani filling station na me top up forward. Me draw na me say on na block me bisa say fall for petrol akọ tank mu enso akọ tank mu ndi entimu bu fall ni bi ndi onya do okan shema untimi you can because traffic na block ho no ndi me ma me wife ni me ba ni yesika mu say anka ye jaka na akọ na me wife say me hwemichi pe na jabeto mitiso mantman ye show bi and we could do 37 minutes hospital. And that form. That 1 year satam
1 year. Wow.
The na time bia ibisa yira sise or if I also or the rich hospital. But they na ye me answer na chem so we film but that time you catch them in ABI, and so me survive it.
Now say now Obaso so can no what the VB saying.
Oh, no, the say 15 to 16 years. That's at a non so or yani nearby. Yadi can buy and ODH buy.
Oba no anana wo baby can ho biem.
Mo baby can but no
the ho or da so ho. Na since then no worry biem.
Ma worry.
Wa worry for wa wo biem.
Wa wo biem. Na oba fufu na mekonya no. Anka oba na nka me anka minim se metiase because time bia na me su ni awrawo ni oba no kauna awro chichirin so eba my brother
the nyame ase se oda so ti nkwam Alex now so e sa da no na okwan e de na de okopie ho
me ba cho me so me reveni emi press printabas ade na me kwakoto oyo any phone na de chema kwasesa oyo na edi me kopie o se na me nwe ka ya traffic wo inside o to mo twen ye twen se ebedu yo so nanka o ma sevu yen nti ye wonum sa na yum se insu no ene diesel petrol wo fom no insu na fla diesel ni petrol no nti usi fom kra na ehihyew honam ehihyew baby ku a ye yadwen se omo minimum ho no pacho ye yadwen se be fi filling station no makoni ejaka no akọ na emudu ananke aba nso main road na lolo kwan no ehoro man kasa dani insutin a insu na sia ko odo na gotel mayiri nti e try say e cross akọ other side but edi mentwie any kiosk little kiosk na dey twamuti wuntimi cross nko other side no because gotel ni say dey si na insu no e ko no wuntimi cross hu kwa mpo nti enso ye twen say kan insu ne tia nanka ye ko nti mi won sa na meti say eja e ba wo eja to ho de mi si fom si mi dwane o to fom a amanfo titi oni pa do so o kwa ko pim machine utimi ko pim car wadane ho nti hu bi ko a onfa ti de mi hu ya ne se eja aso miti ni
oh goodness
ti miti nu ena ede nti makuma ehuru se de manimu de na makuma ehuru but who say yatia se atemu do mo de eja ebe se wi ase be nti na mitrimu adwu nyina ne se
temuda na aba
ya si nyina temuda nti sele makoma ehuru a mebre ogye mu me mpa bo se nka makoma kra entintem nanka miwu na me firi owu ma me ho dade no bai na me nya nti ye nemu a me hia moa nti me nsa no me ha nyina ho se me ha nyina hyanse nti me se me hia moa me kekam nti filling station na omo fuel tank a air reserve se san no mu de agum na si filling station o tanka no nti me de me na ma me kupie ho no when a blast here no ene pija me fly jani nsu no koto de other side Vienna city echi wono nti ho ene metiminya metidi ma me di nante de call efie
nti ade ne si no wo sa sorry ko fie
doctor no cry bi o send the boy me say na me wife ba ho de na nkasa no me wife ba no ton ade o ma me dokun wo no si ye nku fie oba ho no so frɛ me say on do odi kan akofie me ye adwuma no nti na yete alajo bi ne ete na be nkota na nto frɛ me ka kyerɛ me sɛ de nso ni tɔ no me ni fie nti wonku fie nti okɔ na me wɔ la pass na me pon a na me fan wɔ ho nti me la pass na o mitrim sɛ ɔwɔ because me kɔ alajo na me hunu nti me du abeka junction a me be kɔ la pass sei no nso na yiri wɔ no me na mfom nti sɛ de nso na yiri nso no na me ti nso ehun ba me ni no me hu ade papa nti me decide sɛ bia me kɔfɔ no ma nso no be fa me ti me kɔfa achimota me road no so nti me nsa we na du be me hu kwan nti wo no ho no me de me nsa ni twi wo no ho because of say na jana hye nti ne ma tale etete ka wo no nti me du fie no ha me frɛ no obi gate impro bi sam say den na ye me na me kan nya kye nti ne ma me su pie pe esu nku a no mo hwe o mu nya ka no mo de me ba PCFM ho no mo de me call hospital 37 na me hye t-shirt de me hu o 37 say matade no me ti aye kase nti o mu ntimi ro matade nti so mo de scissors na pai matade no fi wo de me hu ribiem 3 days time ansa na me no so etie me o 37 by ho no mo so no minya 6 months 3 weeks o 37 hospital ye yi mi ade me ba fie kra no na me man so hu mi a omu hu me because of say na masesanity no omu yi me sere ho ina dia ya menim nyina ase ne masesa
satam na o ma no o madu be sen
penino so no wo na penino wo 9 years or so na ba kon so 6 years no mu susa no me 3 no me
see o mu nyina ya mpanyimfo
o mu nyina mpanyimfo nyankopɔ adwe se me no mu nyina o mu hu me ti no
okay you beto an komo no so na me pese me chirem kakra e wo brofo de makama ye tiefo do. So basically the two of them were drivers who were caught up on the day. They wanted to get a bit of fuel to power their vehicle, and they are narrating the ordeal that they went through. One spent more than 6 months at the hospital, another spent a year at the hospital. Unfortunately, Kasim lost his wife and his child to that disaster, and Alex did not lose an immediate family member. So that's a brief of what they've been telling me in the studio. Inti, Alex, now we a driver.
But why?
What does your driver?
But me a driver ni.
What does your driver? Be pim ni nyina.
And no need ma.
Why na Kasima kache se ono sebe ne yere efa mu hwe ne nkwa ne ba so efa mu hwe ne nkwa na obusuani bia ho anka sada no
me patcho da bi but me mate na me ne nam no ono ne na ne body kra ne busiafo no na makwala wa tuni sa me ne ye adwuma but ono so free mu da dey no ono de ne body no o ma hu ba me da hospital no man kan to tell me ho to me ansa na o mo kire me say me bisa na say so no da 37 me da 37 me bisa na say so da police hospital patcho me ho to me kra ansa me beti say we free ma ye hu ne body kra
na o car no na oni mate ne pen ne wom
patcho na me ni mate na meto oil na ade che ma kokko sesa oil ndi ehye o filling station ehye
right Kasim so o spend afi e hospital that time na wo hospital honum ni nyina no na wani go so na onim de ekoso
patcho beginning na yadi me ko hospital me di 3 months na me nim say me da hospital because that time na me wa ICU intensive care unit the machines na sisi me so nti me hu hwe many fry we hwe many kosi ase no to say e kata me ni kura anti
me say de wo hunu ade me bo
isia me space na me wi abosi a me hu hwe pressure me ni
kafra
me kura ndi me da hospital edu 1 year no doctor na hwe ma pomode no say me surgeons no omutimi ye ne prekope e yen kakan kakra me ntimi da fa kope ewo 37 na ya sa surgeons no me kofi na me bad dressing na me call daily dressing ne frikaso na ma be sian ko 37 ndi say me na fit say 3 months and almost apply another surgery ndi me surgery no me yen kakra sa na ebedu 20 surgeries mitisi ne nkase nyina ebubuye
no de enyi
nkase nyina ebubuye ndi omo yi nkase ne kakra la shukra omba ye brain surgery ansana no to me na mo ye no 2019 na mo ye sa surgery ndi sata nkai no ya me ko na mo ko ye manual surgery nkete
na udi afi ewo hospital ho no nyina no hospital bills when did you afi first tama yekoda on na protocol ye ntwahwe ba ye discharge wa protocol na ashi protocol no chasing
protocol chase we aban na offer ye nka
first 3 days no ebusu afo de tua e ka no nti after 3 days na aban na be na so president of was be na so say a victim June 3 for no obefa ye ho ka gyina nti fi ho ko nyina no ono fa ho ka ba enya you fi ho dia na be review bi mu dia sa ka nyina ye ho ka
ndi fiti satam eka up and down na me ko nyina nyana mitia mika
okay na yekeka sikasem ne aban de sa asem ne si ye yete sa aban eka se watwa foto bi ato ho a ode beboa omunya omutrididi mu ana se busuafo a omuhwe omade hye no you know, maybe more fathers and mothers to say more into Safoto no, Monsa Camode.
Safoto and a credit. Satana Missa here another surgery. The Satan scan by no Missa admission. Miko admission, Missa scan and do 6 months and a scan sign. Scan sign, Missa ye discharge Missa by fee. Me by fee. A chikwa messages no omuye no nkakra na stage you anka baba this and the anka mentiasi
right
bi wa minamana so miti discharge 2 days 3 days manye dressing a minti na asi kan ndi scanner ye dia ma minde anti mampo mu diko anti man hwemi ebi wa busia ese okosres cancer na o dia show apomodi in that form.
Alex, a basa no na o da hospital no a ye wo no o ba bontin no e de na obete se aban ba ya mama mo abe na otese aban e de beboa mo
bacho me da se tete bia tete ska mi nwe ken ya Alex ameti mi sanka ska bia
bibia apart from hospital bills no nemom no nedmo no mo chiche ska no o mo chiche nedmo ska no TV station program say na mo mpani fo bi ba ho no no mo se magiska ma ya tepu say magiska eno chi mi ti ona mo ko hu say menjiye so mo so mo hwehwem up to now no bako bia minim de akwa kosisi a me na magiska bia mo we be mre be say ni
o but 1 year ni last year
1 year
na me menjiye me de menjiye no mo hu say menjiye but ni atepu me di say magi so menjiye se chi di mo me ko office mo hwehwem ana so me nya butre na mo hwehwe up to now me sanka skebiaye bia ma miskaye
okay na Kasim wo de also nsaka bi but wo de hwe ho yare e ma ne san na omo ka bi kire wo say sika na beba wa na say de ma prekope say de betimi aya ma wa ni
ka kire say ya di dem serious no na fa kosa ye ho yare na ekire no na compensation aba ni tama no admission 2016 misako ya 2017 misako admission dimi no admission na miti so yesi sikabi aba na scan every Beni present ndi scan eba no an kwame bra we ni sanka median no admission no ya discan on betua bill ewo 37 emami the scan the amba in some straight scan by pe editia eka medical bills the anokre madam from the nisan kanisika
me sa ba mun champion me pese me cheche mu chair for the maka chem so briefly they've been narrating how they survived when they spent months, and even one person spent a year at the hospital. They say that they were catered for by the government. Their hospital bills during the time that they spent at the hospital, they were catered for by the government. Kasim tells me that he got some money directly from the government as well, but he used all those monies for his medical bills. Alex tells me that apart from the medical bills that were paid for by government, he did not get a dime from government as a personal upkeep or any other money apart from the hospital bills that were paid by the government. We will continue the conversation with Kasim and Alex in the studio. But in the meantime, the key question this afternoon is whether the recommendations have been implemented by key stakeholders. First, let's listen to the leader and convener of the One Ghana movement, Senyor Hosea, who says Ghana must move beyond annual commemorations and focus on implementing the official report's recommendations on the disaster.
Nothing much has been done. The lives of the victims are still destitute for the most part. They are struggling. We've not had, I don't think I recall any white paper being issued on that particular report yet. Nobody has really been arrested yet. No one has been really held accountable for a loss that was clearly avoidable, that people really failed to actually exercise their duty of care and their responsibility of care for ordinary citizens, you know. So it's
It's a very, I don't want to say a charade though, but it's almost that, you know. We just organized an event, got here and said never again, only for another thing to happen. We've had Atomic, we've had who's been held accountable? Tell me who's really gone to jail yet. All right, who has been really nothing. So it always becomes business as usual. You can mismanage the space of public office. You can mismanage responsibility to the public, and you just go scot-free in Ghana. We can't continue that. So the least we can do is get compensation for these victims. But more importantly, we think that the state has clear responsibility in this matter. The key institutions that have been cited in this matter, the NPA, the AMA, and GOA, are heavily state-owned or controlled. So I think that the state should have done the honorable thing. Apologize to the people, admit your failure, admit that you failed to exercise your duty of care. In fact, you even followed the case in court. During cross-examination, NPA admitted that stronger regulation would have avoided the matter. GOA admitted that this matter was avoidable.
Let's have a conversation and go onto the telephone lines right now and speak to the PRO of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Gilbert Ankra. Gilbert, welcome to the program. As city managers, there's been some recommendations following the disaster. Which of those recommendations have you been able to implement so far?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And on behalf of the Mayor of Accra, I would want to use this opportunity to extend our condolence to the lost victims. As an assembly, we also
Gilbert, I would appreciate it if you could kindly speak up for me.
As an assembly, I'm saying we also sympathize with the victims, you know. And this issue is very, very dear to the heart of the assembly. And anytime it comes up, it brings a lot of memories. But as a city, a lot is going on to ensure that we deal with the reoccurrence of some of these disasters. And basically, we as an assembly, our responsibility is to ensure that continuously before, during, and after the drain, to ensure that we desilt the drains that we have, so that at least when the water comes, we'll be able to move it freely. Aside that, we also have to ensure, putting measures to ensure that as residents, issues of poor waste management practices are curtailed, so that at least when the rains come, we wouldn't choke the drain to cause flooding and some of these disasters. So as a city, a lot is going on, just as I said, with the desilting of the drains. We are also ensuring that areas where we have poor waste management companies, currently as we speak, the Assembly has formed the cooperatives with the informal sector, with waste collectors, where they even move out to areas where these big trucks are unable to move in to deal with it. Basically, as a city, that is what we are doing. The city's resilience was tested, and we've been able to ensure that at least we prevent some of these reoccurrence. Currently, gone are the days we don't have a clear desilting plan of the drains. As I speak to you now, there is clear plan to ensure that our drains, even areas where it falls under the storm drains and all that, the assembly coordinates to ensure that some of these things are done. 11 years down the lane, as a city, we wish that such a disaster will never happen in our city again. But let me use this opportunity to also state that the National Sanitation Day is coming this very Saturday, and we want to use the opportunity to let Ghanaians understand the need to come together. We need to bring back that spirit of communal labor. This particular exercise, the Mayor, Honorable Michael Papalote, is focusing on ensuring that we desilt our drains. So we're calling on everybody not only within the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, that jurisdiction, wherever you find yourself, corporate institutions, NGOs, residents, we urging them to come together and ensure that they desilt their drains. The Assembly Mayor is also working closely with our sister assemblies to ensure that every debris that is collected from the drains, especially during this upcoming sanitation day, will be collected so that at least will prevent the reoccurrence of flooding.
And I'll ask my question. It says, dredge the Addo River and Korle Lagoon regularly, redesign Accra's open gutters into larger underground drains, strictly ban plastic bags and penalize littering in drains, mandate automatic shut-off valves and leak detectors at filling stations, stop licensing filling stations in flood-prone or crowded areas, equip the fire service and NATMO with specialized rescue gear, establish a permanent national disaster relief fund for victims, launch continuous nationwide public safety and flood education campaigns. Which of these have the AMA implemented?
Of course, if you look at issues of the silting of the drains, that
have you done that?
Under the ministry's responsibility, and as we speak, we know measures are underway to ensure that some of these drains are desilted, especially the Addo and then the Korle. Now, if you also look at campaigns, that's a city, a lot more is happening with respect to flood prevention campaigns. Just as I said earlier, the Information Service Department of the Assembly periodically moves out into the city to educate residents, especially on issues of poor waste management practices. You spoke about issues of littering. They cause a major challenge. The Mayor, Honorable Michael Papoliti, as I speak to you, has commissioned the Assembly's sanitation court, and over the period, a lot more of the offenders are being prosecuted to serve as deterrent to others. As we speak, to also deal with issues of public littering, the Mayor, Honorable Michael Papoliti, with support from the private sector, we've installed over 100 public bins in the city. If you go as far as Kolebu, you will see some of these bins installed there. The Mayor was part of the installation. So a lot more is happening as a city to ensure that we prevent the reoccurrence of these disasters. Some of the recommendations for don't fall within our purview. So we are also hoping that other institutions are taking them on board, especially with the issues of permitting and other safety concerns to ensure that we prevent some of these reoccurrences. But once again, as a city, we really sympathize with the victims.
Gilbert, don't go yet. I've also been joined by Joy Hesse Ankuma. He's the Deputy Director of Human Settlement Unit at the Environmental Protection Authority. Welcome to the program. There were some recommendations like the stopping of licensing of fuel stations in flood-prone or crowded areas. This, I believe, is the mandate of the Environmental Protection Authority. Have you been able to implement some of these recommendations? Hello, Joy, do I have you? Right, we're still trying to establish connection to Joy Hesse Ankuma, who is the Deputy Director of Human Settlement Unit at the Environmental Protection Authority, to have a conversation with concerning some of these recommendations, which directly fall onto the doorstep of the EPA. Joy, do I have you? Well, Gilbert is still on the line with me. Gilbert, some of the recommendations really people are saying were supposed to have been done and done well as we speak right now. The dredging of the Addo River and Korle Lagoon regularly. Is that being done at all?
Yes, just as I said earlier on, that particular responsibility falls under the Ministry of Works and Housing, under Hydro. We've seen some dredging. If you come to our zone, especially the Korle part, we've seen some dredging of the Korle. And as a city, we would also be calling for more of this dredging and desilting of the drains. But the government is ensuring that some of these things are done to prevent the reoccurrence of the flooding situation.
Okay.
But let me quickly state that we also have a responsibility once again as people. Recently, we heard the President, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, reiterate the point that human behavior, especially when it comes to poor waste management practices, contribute to some of these flooding. So as a city, as residents, we must also understand that we have a responsibility to play. We have a responsibility to play. So we're urging them to support whatever we are doing as a city, desist from leaching, desist from dumping indiscriminately into the drains, so that together we'll be able to deal with this issue. Because if, as a city, we continue to do the desilting of the drains, we continue to dredge the odor, and continuously, as residents, we disregard waste management, proper waste management practices, and litter dumping during these rains. We've seen some residents intentionally dumping their waste into the drain. So we must all come together as a people to be able to prevent some of these reoccurrences, especially when it comes to flooding and that.
Gilbert, I agree with you. I agree with what the president also said. But here's where the issue lies. If you just say it by word of mouth and don't implement it, human beings will always break the rules. So one of the recommendations was to strictly ban plastic bags and penalize littering in drains. How is the AMA going about that?
Let me state that with the issue of the banning of single-use plastics, as a city, it is beyond us. But we've recently seen or heard the EPA come out to even ban takeaway packs from next year. And we as a city, we believe in the circular economy. Currently, as I speak to you now, the AMA has entered into an agreement with private company to recycle our waste that we generate, especially our plastic waste, into some profitable use. And we are embarking on more of these recycling activities so that at least we'll prevent these waste from entering into our drains, because they are a huge resource. They are a huge resource.
Gilbert, stay with me. I have Joy Hesse Ankuma, who is the Deputy Director of Human Settlement Unit at the Environmental Protection Authority. Joy, do I have clear connection to you now?
You can hear me now, sir. Okay,
perfect. Some of the recommendations in that report were directly directed at the EPA. One of them was to strictly ban plastic bags. Why 11 years later the EPA has still not been able to do that? What's the challenge?
Is that to introduce what? A ban?
Strictly ban plastic bags. Plastic bags in the city. 11 years later, the Environmental Protection Authority has been unable to implement that recommendation. What's the challenge?
The ban of a material is very difficult to implement because these materials serve a purpose. And therefore, a lot of work has to be done before the pronouncement has to be made. That's how come this plan, as you said, has been long overdue. The plan was there. A lot of education has to start. A lot of strategies has to be put in place. This is a global fight and not just a Ghanaian fight. The strategies has now been put in place. The whole strategy was put in place, but we needed the policy backing, basically from government. And as you know, since 11 years ago, there have been change in governments. Everybody comes, we have to relook at it. Until last year, when the president gave us the green light to start with that of the styrofoams, which even today we met stakeholders. And the date has now been proposed to 1st January 2027. So it was a process technical people were still working on it because there are global implications, there are trade implications, there are economic implications, and there are other health-related implications, which the committee needed to look at all these things before implementation has to kickstart. So, yes, as I said, there were a lot of change in government, change in policy directions, the way we should go about it. But now that His Excellency has given us the green light, which means we've gotten the policy backing to fully implement. Today we met with some industries. We started the strategy, the education, the modalities will also roll out till the effective date starts.
There were also recommendations to stop licensing filling stations in flood-prone or crowded areas. A prime example is that particular filling station where this unfortunate incident happened. That filling station still stands today. What has been the challenge with that as well? The EPA has the mandates to do that.
Okay, so when it comes to the siting of filling stations, a whole national committee was put in place to establish some guidance to that. So the committee was chaired at MPA, EPA was part, LUSPA was part, I think Fire was also part. They came up with new stringent measures, which one has to go through. And that guidelines has now been published, giving the strict adherence to certain buffers, certain setbacks that has to be put in place before you can establish these things. The issue was that what happens to the existing ones? Some technical unit was put in place to evaluate the risk, to do risk assessment for the existing ones, which the previous government started, and some risk assessment was done. So the committee came out with some recommendation, and some policy changes also came into place. Now, you know, even with the LPG, they've moved to the cylinder recirculation. All this part was part of some of the outcomes from the technical committee's work. So they are shifting.
Right, Joy, I get all the explanation, but one would have thought that the easiest one, which should have been eliminated as we speak, should have been that particular filling station that caused the disaster. It is still there. Yes, you've given me the processes, you've given me what you're doing, but the first thing or the first point of call should have been where the issue began. Why is that filling station still there if you've not been able to stop the licensing of other filling stations in flood prone or crowded areas? That particular filling station, what is it still doing there?
The Guel filling station, their permit was revoked. That station is no more there.
So what has happened to that site?
Okay, and so this became a national disaster management issue. So the presidency or national security took over all this. Let me say the setting up of a committee to come out with recommendations. So almost all the regulators were reporting to this committee.
Okay.
All the recommendations was submitted. Individual regulators met with the committee, gave their recommendation outcomes. And so, but the station itself, their permit was revoked. That's how come that station has not been rebuilt. So it was on government to now issue maybe a white paper on the recommendations, and that goes beyond most of the regulators because it became a national security issue, which was being handled at the national level. So I think NADMO was the main coordinator of that. Fire was part, EPA, my authority was also part, but we all did our recommendations to the committee, which that's what I can.
Right, Joy, don't go ahead. I still have Gilbert with me. Gilbert, we've gone over the recommendations, and it appears that, per the explanation that you've been giving to me, not a single one of them has been implemented by the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. You all tell me that they are all in the pipeline, you're working on it, and really people are asking, what is it? What's the challenge? Why has it taken so long, 11 years later, and we're still discussing these recommendations? Hello, Gilbert.
Let me say that, of course, I beg to differ when you say the AMA has not implemented any of the recommendations. I spoke about the fact that if you look at what we do with respect to the desilting of the drains, it is something that is happening within our zone.
But Gilbert, the key word. Hello, Gilbert, can you hear me? Gilbert,
we moved in to ensure that we deal with it.
Gilbert, are you with me?
Issues. Yes, I'm with you.
Yes, the key word. And let me the key word. I'll allow you, if I may. The key word in that recommendation is regularly. Regularly. That is the key word in that recommendation. Yes, you may be doing it, but others are questioning how frequent is it? How frequent do you do it? Do you only do it when it's time for flooding, when it's time for rains? And really, that brings me to my next question. When was the last time you desilted the Addo River?
That is what I spoke to you about, that with respect to the Addo River, the dredging of the Addo and Koli, it doesn't fall within the purview of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Okay. It falls under the Ministry of Works and Housing, their hydro department. But for the Assembly, we are responsible to ensure that our drains within the communities are desilted consistently and regularly. Prior to this rainy season, Mayor instructed that we move in to ensure that the drains are desilted, and I can pinpoint areas where we did major desilting work. If you go to Cantamanto, for instance, and our assembly members are also playing an important role. Let me also use this opportunity to also say, if you go to Agboburushi, for instance, each and every time we ensure that we desilt those particular drains there. Our assembly members, just as I said, as part of the national sanitation, they periodically ensure that all the drains we have as a city are being desilted.
What about constructing new storm drains? Has that happened? Has the AMA constructed new storm drains?
When it comes to the construction of storm drains, that also doesn't fall within the purview of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. But I can tell you that under the Garage project, a lot is happening to ensure that the drains are re-engineered to be able to accommodate more of the water. And let me make an example of what is about to happen at Kanishi. If you look at the Accra Academy, for instance, there is a major construction work ongoing, and it's to ensure that we widen those drains. That particular drain, I understand, is going to be channeled under the entire Kanishi, the Kanishi road all the way to Pampum to be able to accommodate the rain water when it comes. If you look at all these areas, they are coming. So after an assembly, in as much as the Addo and other areas does not fall within our purview, if you come to the AMA, as I speak to you now, a lot more is happening with respect to desilting. Today, for instance, go to areas such as Ablekuma South, and you will see that we have our South Metro ensuring that the roadside drains are desilted, and this is consistent. But just as I said, as residents, we also have a responsibility to play.
Right.
A city, you know, if you want to look at a resilient city, we are looking at the one that is prepared, proactive, and committed to managing the flood situation through continuous preventive measures. And I can tell you on authority that Mayor Honorable Michael Pakwalote is up to the task to ensure that the drains are desilted. I spoke to you about the fact that as part of the campaigns as well, we have the Information Services Department moving in to do periodic announcement. It's unfortunate that within this 1 month period, there is a ban on drumming and noise making. Hence, we don't normally see our vans moving around. But from next week, the ban is going to be lifted, and government through His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we now have modernized cinema vans with LED screens. So these are all supporting in ensuring that the campaign on flooding goes down well. But we have a responsibility as residents to play. And let me thank Multimedia for also giving us the opportunity to also educate residents to ensure that some of these things are done. And in the area of the ban on plastics, I said that as a city, we understand the need that some of these plastic bags create employment, and we are putting in more measures to ensure that we establish more recycling plants so that at least these waste will not be seen as waste, they will be seen as resource.
Right. Gilbert, don't go yet. I'll come back to you. But let me come into the studio, and still on this June 3rd disaster discussion, I have been joined by Assistant Chief Fire Officer Rashid Nisawu with the Greater Accra Regional Fire Command. Welcome to the program. Good to see you again.
Good to see you, brother. Good afternoon.
Right. One of the recommendations in that report was to equip the fire service with specialized rescue gear. Do you have it now?
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to your cherished viewers. Let me use this opportunity to thank the Chief Fire Officer, directors of the Ghana National Fire Service, the personnel of the Ghana National Fire Service. Indeed, as for the resources, we've not, for some time now, we had challenges with our resources, but I can assure you, so long as rescue issues are concerned, at the regional national headquarters, there is a rapid intervention vehicle to take care of rescue. At the regional level, there is a rapid intervention vehicle to take care of the rescue. On our way towards Ibri, Medina has the Volvo that is there, is equipped with the rapid intervention extrication equipment. Wager is equipped with extrication equipment. Amasaman, there are two vehicles there. One is a rapid intervention vehicle. The other one is a tender. The rapid intervention vehicle is loaded with rescue equipment to take care of rescue from Accra towards Kumasi. I can go on and on and on. As for the resources, we all know that in relation to demand, we need more resources to be able to undertake the task. But I can assure you that as the rainy season is coming, the Chief Officer has put in measures, directives to all regional commanders to implement, to ensure that even if there will be a disaster at all, we'll be able to take control of it.
So do you have the specialized rescue gear that were recommended? Yes or no, you don't?
Yeah, so at the moment, the equipment that we need we call them featherweight pumps. As we speak, we have featherweight pumps, even though we need more of them, because if a tender is there, it will need about 2 or 3 featherweight pumps. So if you have 1 or 2, we need more. Because if the report on flood in 2 or 3 or 5 homes, you will need featherweight pumps in all those homes to be able to deploy to do the priming simultaneously. So I can say that the equipments are there, but they're not enough. And that is the more reason why anytime I get the opportunity to come here and talk, I say that government is playing its part. I also want to appeal to the private sector to come to the aid of the service by providing this kind of featherweight pumps, these lines and other equipments that can aid in floods and other things, because they should see us as partners in development.
I must say the National Fire Service played a crucial role when that unfortunate incident happened. Had it not been for your intervention, we would have recorded far worse casualties than we did. But 11 years on, there are still questions lingering as to whether the fire service is well equipped to deal with something like this if it is to reoccur again. Is it?
As for equipment, I have told you, the equipments are there, but it is in relation with what? Demand. Because if you look at standard the world standards, a fire station should have about 2 or 3 fire engines. The first engine moves for the first incident. There is an incident again, the second crew moves, the third crew moves, and we even have about third or fourth crew on standby. So if you have about 1 fire engine at the station, the engine is there, but you cannot say that is enough, because if they call you for an incident and you attend, and there's another incident in the same area, what happens? Then it means then we have to call in another station. That brings about how sometimes you see that if a call is this way, then another fire engine call comes, then another fire engine has to be asked to come in to augment. So as for the resources, they are not there the way we want them, and we continue to appeal to the government and the private sector to assist.
This was a twin disaster, as we've come to know. Yes. It was a mixture of water and fire. Then fire.
Yes.
Those are some of the deadliest things in the world.
Yes.
What will be your safety advice to people? Because on that day, there were people who were sheltering at that particular filling station. They were sheltering from the rain. Others had gone there to buy fuel and so on. What safety tip would you give to somebody when it's raining?
Very well. So the recommendations are that the chief officer have given directives and guidelines for us to send out to filling stations regarding rains and fire. And the one on the list is desilting of gutters in front of filling stations. So the directive is that all filling stations, let me use this opportunity to appeal and tell the people of Greater Accra region and anybody listening to me, the directives from the chief officer is that the silting of gutters right in front of filling stations should be done immediately, so that water will not collect there and spill to the filling station. The second one has to do with unauthorized structures. Structures that if there is a filling station, they see that there is a wall or something that is going to retain the water. I think they should take measures immediately, according to the chief officer, to create ways so that if there is flood, the water can pass safely. Now, avoid discharging of fuel in the rains. The advice is that if fuel has come to discharge and it is about to rain, or the rain has started, according to the chief officer, that particular filling station should hold on with the discharge until the rains are over. Now, opening of valves. Some filling stations have the desire of opening down the underground tanks down. According to the chief officer, the moment the clouds begin to form or when it's raining, all underground valves openings leading to underground tanks must be properly sealed. Then she also spoke about passers-by. You see, sometimes somebody will be going somewhere, and then because it's raining, he wants to seek shelter. It's encouraging, telling all filling stations to discourage people massing up at filling stations to take shelter during the rains. Now, some people may have faulty dispensing machines. If you have a machine that is faulty, this is the time to ensure that you correct that defect, because if the exposed electrical component comes in contact with water, the likelihood of fire occurring is there. Now, there are some general safety measures that normally filling stations obey, like switching off your ignition when you are coming to buy fuel, like when you are refilling, you have to switch off your ignition. When you are at a filling station, you shouldn't smoke. When you are at a filling station, you shouldn't pick a call. All this, when you are coming to discharge, you have to make sure that the necessary safety measures are in place before the discharging is. All these measures, according to the chief officer, should be intensified during this rainy season. And if the worst should come, that you at a filling station, the workers are there and water starts to flood the place, her advice is that the filling station should temporarily be closed down, and the workers will desert the place until the rains subside. So these are the guidelines that the chief officer has put in place for the people to follow, to have a fire and a flood-free disaster this year, 2026.
When you get to most filling stations, you see the sign that do not use your mobile phone there. But
yes,
almost all the time you see people using their mobile phones there. How dangerous is it?
It is dangerous because, you see, when we are talking three things will come together to give you fire. Number one is oxygen. Number two is fuel. The third one is heat. So what the mobile phone is likely to contribute is the heat component. Is the heat component, because the fuel is there, the oxygen is in the environment, because the human beings are there. But then even if you stay on your mobile phone for a very long time, you will feel that the mobile phone is getting what?
Hot.
Heat very well. So it means that, but what is interesting that I need to say it here before we close, is that you see, the heat that is required to set a filling station ablaze may not be the same heat that will be required to set maybe a pen, paper, or clothes ablaze, because when the fuel is in a solid state, the heat will have to decompose it, turn it into fuel vapor before the ignition can take place. But here is a situation, already the fuel is already in the vapor state, because the moment the fuel is opened, the moment you feel the smell of the petrol, it means the fuel is already in the vapor form in the atmosphere. So the little bit of heat in the atmosphere can trigger the fire. So that is how come we advise that if in mobile phones, switch off your engines when you are buying fuel, don't smoke at filling stations, and so on and so forth. The chief officer is saying that these measures should be intensified this season.
My final question to you will be, would you advise people to shelter at a filling station?
I think I mentioned that one.
Okay.
Yes, what I said was that prevent or discourage people and passers-by from massing up or taking shelter at a filling station when it is raining. I think we should discourage that. And anytime those people at the filling station see that people are massing up there to take shelter, they should ask them to go. It's better to go in the rain and get wet than staying there and run into troubles.
Yeah.
Yes.
Officer Nisau, thank you very much for your time this afternoon.
I also want to use this opportunity to thank you so much. And like I said, my point, the general public should see us as partners in development, and also contribute to the development of our service, just like they are doing to other institutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's the Greater Accra Fire Officer, ACFO1, Rashid Nisau there. I still have Gilbert and Joy from the EPA and AMA, respectively, on the phone. I want to give you the final words so that we depart. Let me begin with you, Joy.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the fire officer has done a lot. As he said, there are three components to create fire, and two of these components are already existing. So our little safety issues, especially to the general public, when the hazardous material, which is the fuel, is already on site, the oxygen we breathe is already there. The little ignorance we exhibit, the little instructions there we should follow. The fuel is classified hazardous for a purpose because of its dangerous nature, how highly flammable it is. Therefore, as we said, if there is a third factor like a rain, you shouldn't run to a hazardous zone, which in this case is the fuel service station. You should rather move away from there. All these small precautionary measures can help address this. The silting of the drains around the station is also very, very important. You know, cycle came about because there was also a major construction going there, and a lot of sand was, the gutters were silted during that time. So that caused overflows that could enter into the tank. The issue about camp locks when it comes to operational safety, as we said, the tank. Normally when they do their monitoring, they forgot to close or temporarily close the tanks, which can easily cause these situations. So we should also look at some of these small safety, which during our compliance and enforcement issues, we try and punish them on this. So we remind them, we train them, which now they are picking up or trying to enforce because of the huge penalty we give them if they don't adhere to these things.
Okay.
Yeah, and also the acquiring the permits. It's also, sometimes they come for this permit and you realize they take it just as they are permitted to do. But the permit comes with conditions, the permit comes with the do's and don'ts. So I advise the station managers to look at some of these small things that have been added as permit conditions so that the public becomes a little bit safe for us.
Right.
Because most of these incidents are linked to little negligence and operational errors.
Right.
Which we can do a lot to avoid them. Thank you very much.
Joy Ankoma works with the Environmental Protection Authority. Thank you very much. I still have Gilbert Ankra. He speaks for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Gilbert, I want to pick your final thoughts and then I'll let you go.
Thank you very much once again. Let me end by saying that a clean city is a safer city. And a responsible community is a resilient community. As a city, we appreciate the fact that Accra is a low-lying area. We appreciate the challenges and all that. But we're working to ensure that some of these challenges are dealt with. In doing that, we also need the support of residents. We need the support of all stakeholders. Everybody should come on board. Just as I said earlier on, this Saturday is National Sanitation Day. Let us use the opportunity as a city to come together and then ensuring that we clean our drains, about our various premises, drains everywhere, so that together, as we all know, we can build the only Accra we have.
Right.
A city where we can live in and love it.
Gilbert Ankra, thank you very much for your time this afternoon. He speaks for the Accra Metropolitan Assembly. Let's come back into the studio once again and continue the conversation with the June 3rd disaster survivors, Alex Mensah and Kasim Suraj. Akwaba ebium na yedidin komona pi, but na ye ka sedia Alex woka se unya mwebia 11 years later unya amwebia enti sese no osi utwika meboa asetena mu tesen since adec
but asetremu ye den pa na mikura ka ne kura me no na me former master so e fe no inspector Ebua ono se o pension we sunya inside ono no enti ne baba ko na mi praba yi ya no obeto ka e de mame se na nka me fa enye adwuma but enam se o try na ka no na enye home use car na ka obi use no okoto e de mame
e wo Ghana ha
say but ono so force se na me wo fie because of say me wo fie wo yire wo man na amete ti ni kakra wo no so e de koto ka no e de mame ti na ha rin na o decide say e beton na mo onye bi so so na nka automato home use na e de mame ti na say oboa me bebre nti eno so no de fi ho no mo no de mi shira nya ka bia amfa nye edwuma ye ebi ti say adofo se madam ye fe no anti Matilda o jolo o ye hedesa ohun TV so say ya ono so every month bi otimi sene kakra e de mama bi wo ma minwe ono so anyway mo but enye de bia so na wetimi asresre obi asa ebi ti say my wife say oton ade oton bread nto ono kakra na obenya no enu ana edi hwefie asetrem edan sika even kra no edan tamos na dade no sisi ote ne mama nche one nkwala no because of my nyeske into your rent in it no
nti say wo so te
o meti medan fo bako nchen
okay
nti kai bia nka hoden wo na nka bia na say emwa wo na nka binya adwuma eye dia nka meti ma hwefie
adwuma be sa na wo nya obeti
o pa driving work na me so driving work na
no we ni jo
ana so obi bebua me bia store adwuma bi ana say bia say my wife ton bread ye bia obi be me mwa ahyem aton ade nso de no so e wo ko wife wo bit my adwuma so de a support
Kasim na onso so wo twika said de Alex twika na bi oda so twi ana de na asie
Patona me driver ni. But see, tama me prabai fee no 1 year time. Bandage gumsu ba Michelle long sleep. Na bandage nso wa miti. Me share me di drive. Ene na amanfo hu me ya amodwane na. Ba no mitimi manage sa etimi nya sika kakra na me kwa admission. Me ko ba no. Echire ba me ba manya ka bia. Me nya ka no nti ama me say ko ya me ko review nti me pesika benya kakra dia ko review na de be di ofinti me ko se me ko ye farming kakra farming na me ko ye me duadua nkroma ni sa vegetables ba ni nyina enso bebia ba se amenya ka mama se anu se awon dia ba se ne metima twika se me ni wo kan pa se me nya kasia se adwuma sem na me parity.
Okay, so I've been asking them about how they survive. They tell me that they both used to be drivers. Alex here tells me that someone tried to help him by buying him a car, but unfortunately had to sell it due to 1 or 2 challenges. Kasim also tells me that he's now at home with no job and would love to get a car to start driving commercially once again. So both of them used to be drivers, and that is a job that they say they want to return to. They say, you know, assemni see, you know, said the edika kano abain a cast what the photo be to sikapudu at the buamo. What they also want and kebida, also on sakakakra, but and chibiana a sign. 11 years in the who assembly catcher by a Kasim, a day assembly number catcher by.
Bacho, me den say adisrede nisre o mampeni 2016 o share bosse for my compensation na edu election antima mbabiem nti ye presa o mampeni dada
Akufo-Addo
ye presa bet na ni nyina process be ni nyina nda kakra na mo di ban man no me di tua Oslubi and ye on betami Oslubi mami, but composition and by the Abba for Frasa Bassin, Miss Renapan, Boshana or Shen, yes, Ren, Anka, Ombe Boyna, Entimi share Bussian, 90 share Pomodi, 90 che, and yes, Anna, scanning you mean me encore review and Shema Pomidi, and Shem Bussian.
Alex, when you're Konya, said Kabibicha by Indian Abeka.
Me da asen so se de minu eken ya anamo bia bebe fe bia me nana enam ntinu abane hye ebo bebre ye de ye ko office bebre ti se me na dum ho na dade wo be kokora no kakra obedi na be fuka de be kono wo be kokora obi akra nhwe ni obi akra mfiu nti wo fidie kasie do si ye katwi de but minim se nyankopɔ be ama mpenifo ne aban ankasa ate ne ye kan
aha na abanfo nyina abutie
abanfo nyina hwe nti ne duye minim nwie titru abanhwe nani no mehwe yen e jun third victim fo no no mla no mehwe na ye bre pa mpatasika na otwa ye so de be maye no up to now me Alex ametie obi ama miske bia mi nsa enka bia sese ye hia moa se nya ye kwa ne be adwuma no bi be moa na obe ye moa kwa na ye yire mu ho metima ye adwuma e dia support ye nti me fe wa fidie so na me pa cho akonya de mami ka me mfanye wi kakra se omo a ensuo to a omo hwe bola edigu gata bum no ebia na bro no kuna wo so na ko hwe ensuo no onwura no gu gata no enye ho na wote but wabusu ani bi ba bia ko twoku wo ho ba ko yiri amana konya problem wo sa situation ya mi wo musisi e even abeka dwanshi obi hwe mi akwa na ka akra ebo no se man hye me ho so a menim se me blame so otibie mu sa wonna ma nye easy amanfo ehwe wo no se wan hye wo ho so a untimi empie because of ene nam de si yenti ti mesre enuanam ne adofo wo a ensuo to a omuko hwe bola omu ye fi o mantem atwoku sa ne manema no omu hwe man na ye mpenifo nso a eyo masede se sa ne man omu hwe no ye wo gata bia na bebi wo no ma ni pentimi emplem machine ene se kokoyim nti mpenifo na ye di aban di dibre na ma mo se omu ye sa adwuma no omu hwe because last 2 weeks 1 week in so ye to ye e kura ma medwin se no ase nsachira papa na say ye etise junted na
yeah
make my say bro so kra
because you so na to a say yiri wo baby a yiri na atorencha me to mo yiri wo de ho de bia
me fu say hwe permit na ya manfu nsi down baabi no e da so koso
bibia nsesan
me nua a odi machi e o malam sisi na dwuma asem enye onu mo san ko ye dwuma support me sisi o san ofi bibia dwuma nyina nsu aye den afa ho nti be sere aban penifuo aye di brin na show mo san so mo hwe no munye ni ese de be ya ne atomi a mintimi mpie na menye adwuma nye no ebi nkoto Ghana ni bi na se menua bi ti esere ho no se o mefo ofidie so that's
ye hope se aban betie na watie na sopam ye da mo se mobile Alex Mensah and Kasim Suraj. They are some of the persons who survived the twin disaster that happened on the 3rd of June. They're appealing to government to come to their aid. They say that life has become a bit difficult since this unfortunate incident happened to them, and so they are appealing to relevant authorities. It could be government, it could be NGOs, benevolent individuals, whoever that is able to support them could support them. Yes, Sanko Fai in Chimi, Pese mo numbers to just say be obi wo mo kakra no pese o de bo mo number ben no bitimi ascend mo kakra. Alex, for number to ja.
0243 92 29 17.
Sa boss bi.
Pacho me de 0243 92 29 17.
Kasim Onso
0543 88 99 45.
Boss bi.
0543 88 99 45.
So those are the private numbers of Alex Mensah and Kasim that they've made us aware. If you have any support, help, whatsoever that you want to give to them, you can reach out to them on that numbers that they've made public. And you're still watching The Pulse. When we return from the break, we take you to Parliament. Don't go anywhere.
Conceptualization of this band began way back in School for the Blind. Okay. And it will be very intriguing for people to know that, I mean, a visually impaired person is blessed with what we refer to as perfect pitch in music. It means that somebody can sing, and without necessarily being by the keyboard, one can be able to identify the key with which the person is singing.
Individually, we're trying to project individual talent. Like our drummer, who is right there, who went for World Dramathon.
If you're not pirating whatever it is, you just put a disclaimer on whatever you're putting on social media. And I think that, I mean, that settles it.
This is what it means to be a part of a musical band series.
This week on the Career Trail.
Given the constraints that a lot of people face, that's where partnerships become very, very important. In Tanzania, for instance, we have 1,500 employees. We launched Pinkberry in 2017. But I was like, Harvard. Ice cream Naibeton. It's a very lonely path. I've been in partnership that didn't work. We lost $500,000 in Uganda. You have to believe in some kind of superior authority to be sane.
Every morning before the rush, before the arguments, before the headlines begin to chase us,
there's a moment to pause, to listen, to understand what truly matters. This
is where the day begins.
Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta, a man who has run away from his own people he once served. We believe in the spirit of accountability. It is important for him to come and answer charges preferred against him by the state.
On the AM show, the news is not just read, it is examined. The stories shaping your life, explained with clarity, handled with care. We ask the questions without fear.
If your constituency cannot grow enough tomato for Ghanaians, then there's something wrong with your constituency.
My name is Emefa Akosua-Adeti.
And I am Samuel Kojo Brace.
2 voices, 1 purpose, holding the powerful to account, putting your interests first in every conversation.
No noise, no spin, just fact, context, and the courage to ask the right questions.
Start your day informed, start your day empowered. The AM show on Joy News is definitely worth waking up for.
Joy News, independent,
fearless, credible.
This house was once somebody's dream. A 3-bedroom home filled with family, laughter, kids playing around. But today, it's akin to an eco park. Weeds, plants, snakes. It's all falling apart. Join me on a journey to put this house in good shape. We need to bring this house back to life. Yes, we will. Let's do this.
Hello again. The minority in Parliament is clashing with the Speaker as both sides take entrenched positions on the passage of the Human Sexual Rights and Family Values Bill. Speaker Alban Bagbin has raised concerns that the bill was passed amid procedural breaches, arguing that its final stages did not comply with Standing Orders 170, 171 and 172. He has consequently requested a reconsideration of the 3rd reading of the bill. Well, his concerns echo comments by President Mahama in London, where he cited quorum concerns and alleged procedural lapses, insisting the bill may require further review and could even be referred to the Council of State. But Majority Leader Mahama Yaraga is pushing back forcefully, insisting there was absolutely no breach of parliamentary procedure. We will hear from the Majority Leader shortly, but first let's revisit the concerns raised by Speaker Bagbin and President Mahama about the passage of this bill.
And in fact, when it was passed on Friday, it was even a surprise to me, because I know that they were going to start the consideration of the bill, and that was the instructions I left before I went to attend to other activities. It was Friday, and members wanted to go home early to their constituencies because we were going to sit today, and so I knew they wouldn't have completed it. But all of a sudden, I read about its passage. I reacted, and later I saw on TV all the things that happened. And so this evening, I have asked the leaders to meet me in my office. So they will be here for us to go through it. This is such a critical bill that we believe there must be consensus. But it's not about passing bill. It's about implementing it and making sure that it benefits the people. And so leaders of both sides of the House will be with me this evening for us to discuss what next after the passage of the bill. And I'm very sure that being men and women of wisdom, we'll find a way out and to get all Ghanaians to buy and trade. We are grateful to all those who have come out with the commendation of the good work that Parliament has done. But we want to assure them that whatever discussion we'll have will be to better what has already been passed. It won't take any shine of it. But we need all of them to come on board, because without an identity, you have no value.
Parliament has been considering it, and it was supposed to have been passed last week. There have been a few issues raised. One, that there wasn't quorum when it was passed. That's an issue that has come up. And then two, there were some procedural lapses in terms of its passage. I just got some communication that the Speaker was reading a statement to address the issue of the lapses in the passage of the bill. And so, like I said, when I was the opposition leader, the President has a number of options in this matter. It must come for assent, and so once the President gets it, you go through it because you are not part of the discussion in Parliament, and so the legal representative, the legal counsel in the Presidency and the Attorney General would sit on it because it was a private member's motion. Right. This was not a government bill. And so we'll look at it and make sure that everything is in order before the President is advised to assent. The President has another option if there are some things that he thinks are a problem. He can refer to the Council of State for advice. The Council of State is an advisory body to the President, and so they'll take a look at it, and then they will advise the President. And if there are issues, substantial issues that are raised, the President would return the bill to Parliament, indicating exactly what the issues are. And so there's still quite a while to go before that bill becomes law.
Thank you for setting that out so clearly. Let me ask you.
We can now hear from the Majority Leader, Mahama Yarga, who maintains there were no procedural breaches in the passage of the bill. He spoke on Top Story on Joy FM last night.
My position to the Speaker is that his concern about consensus, though commendable, the people that I'm dealing with, which is the NP, I can never build consensus with them on this matter because they don't want it passed. I'm not convinced that there's anything wrong with the bill. So if anybody takes the bill clause by clause and convince me that there's a problem with the bill, in good conscience, I will probably figure out how we can, claw back whatever we have done and then fix those issues. So that is a window open to any president, including President John Dramani Mahama. Okay. It is within his right.
All right.
If the bill gets to him, for him to say, Parliament, I have disagreement with clause 2 or clause 3. Please reconsider it. If it comes to us and we look at it and we are all convinced that, yeah, he's right, we'll change it. Okay. If we say, no, there's nothing wrong with it, that's how we want it, and we marshal our 2/3, he has to sign it.
We've also been hearing from the spokesperson for the National Chief Imam Sheikh Arimi Al-Shaibu, who has cautioned political actors against turning the controversial bill into a partisan contest between the NDC and the MPP.
Parliament had passed the bill earlier on. It only needed the presidential assent, which by certain legal processes was refused the chance to reach the table of the president. And so the former president did not sign. So I thought that this one was going to be just a pass-through, that for us to quicken the pace and get it on the table of the current president, so in accordance with his promise that he will append his signature. So for us to come here where we do not know where we are facing, the minority taking a position, the majority taking a position, for me it's disappointing, to say the least. And I hope that we will not politicize this matter, because this matter that we are dealing with is a non-political matter. From my angle, and have been consistent in my debate about this subject matter, LGBT in the form, whatever form it takes, it is an attack on the family institution, which is a sacred unit of society. That's why every human being is born into a family made up by male, female who give birth to children and from which progenies are produced. And so any attempt to promote same sex, in my view, is to say we are attacking the very foundation of society.
Well, let's still stay in Parliament because the Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, has courted controversy after suspending sittings of the House for 3 days to use the chamber for an anti-LGBTQ conference. Leaders of African parliaments have converged in Ghana over what they say is the external influence over family values among Africans. Well, the conference is coming at a time of a wave of hardline anti-LGBTQ legislations, with the parliament of this country passing its own just this Friday. Well, the conference is now being hosted in the debating chamber of Parliament until the end of this week. And Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Akufo-Addo has more in this report.
In the past several meetings and sittings of Parliament, members of Parliament have been complaining about a backlog of questions that they've asked sector ministers, but which have remained unanswered. On the other paper, there are a number of key government and private business that have still not been done. But as I speak to you this afternoon, the Parliament of Ghana has been suspended for 3 days for a conference on human family values and African values to be held in the Chamber of Parliament. Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, making this decision, perhaps with the leadership of the House, have invited a number of leaders of African parliaments across the continent who are all here in Parliament for the next 3 days on a conference that is talking about family values of Africa. There are so many people who have described these conferences as an anti-LGBTQ conference because, as we know, over the past few years, there have been a number of countries on the African continent, from Uganda up until Ghana, who are enacting a very tough and hardline anti-LGBTQ legislation. In fact, last Friday, Ghana did enact its own anti-LGBTQ bill, which is currently mired in controversy. And even as that controversy is sorted out, with the Speaker of Parliament appealing to leadership of the House to bring back the bill to the floor for a reconsideration, even before a decision is made, the House has been suspended for 3 days. And in fact, we've been getting some answers from some leaders on what exactly may have led to this decision to hold this conference in the Chamber of Parliament and not any of the conference facilities in the country. I've been reporting from Parliament for some time now. It is very unusual, particularly at a time when a meeting of Parliament is happening, for the session to be suspended entirely for other events to be held. Not for a day, not for 2 days, but for 3 whole days, with Parliament now said to resume next week. Some members of leadership that I spoke to who were not very happy about the decision said they agreed partly with the Speaker to hold this conference because this is an embodiment of African values, and that this is a conference that Parliament of Ghana had bidded to host and that which other African countries were interested in. They also cite the precedent of other countries who have hosted this conference actually using their own parliamentary chamber to hold this conference. What is not clear is if these conferences in those countries were held at a time when Parliament was sitting. The Parliament of Ghana has returned for the second meeting of the year in just about 4, 5, 6 sittings that they have done since they resumed, and with so many MPs now complaining about the load of work, the schedule that is uncompleted. There are those who say that the Parliament of Ghana, and the Speaker of Parliament in particular, has not taken the right decision to suspend the sittings of Parliament for 3 whole days for this conference to happen on the floor of the chamber. In the coming days, we'll be trying to get answers from the leadership, from the Speaker himself directly, as to what informed this very rare decision to do this. But until then, the criticism abounds of a parliament that has a lot of work to do, but has found time to host a conference, and in so doing, suspended sittings on the floor, the business of the people of Ghana for 3 days, so that a conference on African values can be held. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
We stay in the House of Legislature a bit longer because leaders of African parliaments across the continent are warning against external influence over family values among nations in Africa. Well, the caution comes at a time where Ghana, among other nations, are grappling with attempts to pass legislations against LGBTQI activities. The matter took center stage at the opening session of the 4th African Interparliamentary Conference ongoing here in Accra on family, sovereignty and values. James Aveji is covering that for us in Parliament and is joining me on the line with details of this particular event. James, first, give us some background to this gathering.
Well, Ken, so this is a gathering of over 30 countries, particularly here in Ghana, from countries across the continent, including delegations of various speakers, their deputies, and other important persons of parliament in these 30 countries across the continent of Africa who are gathering here for the next. The communication we had from the speaker is that this is going to be a 4-day event from today to Saturday, when they should be wrapping up. Now, what is of interest, Ken, as Kweku initially pointed out, is the fact that the focus of this conference is on the issues of sovereignty values and family issues, especially at this time when we are grappling with the issues of the anti-LGBTQI plus bill. And a number of the speakers have been speaking, and that is why everybody's eye is on what is happening in the chambers of Ghana's parliament. In the last few hours, started around 11 a.m. and the conversations are still ongoing. The speakers are now impaneling to undertake a panel conversation after the individual speeches that have been delivered in the last 3-4 hours here in Parliament.
Right. Let's talk about the position of the speakers who have been speaking so far. What have they been saying?
Well, again, there appears to be a consensus among all of the speakers that have been speaking with regards to external influence on our government, especially the legislation-making process of parliament in Africa. The senator for the Eswatini Senate, for instance, Senator Pastor Lindiwe, in her remark, actually pointed out the fact that the issue is deeper than we think, especially how lawmakers are under some fear or pressure when it comes to legislation. This, she believes, is because of a certain kind of fear amongst the global competitors about allowing us to own identity as a people, which they think will not be in the interest of the global order.
Along with other African nations, the people of Eswatini believe in mutual respect, honor, dignity, faith, interdependence, family, culture, tradition as core tenets of solidarity. Therefore, Eswatini stands in solidarity with this 4th conference because we understand that attacks on the African family are not abstract debates. They manifest as rising divorce rates, child neglect, the erosion of parental authority, and cultural confusion among our youth. Our role as parliamentarians is not to impose a single model, but to protect the right of African societies to define family in a way that reflects our history, our faith, and our lived realities. That is sovereignty. Sovereignty, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, means the power of the African people to legislate for ourselves without fear or pressure. It means parliament, not foreign capitals, decide what is best for the African children. Notwithstanding, we note that the call for solidarity does not come without opposition. As we speak, the voice of criticism, slander, and misinformation is loud. It would seem the very idea of Africans choosing to unite to protect their identity and sovereignty is frightening to those who seek to promote the anti-life, anti-family agenda. We have been accused of working against development. To this, we invite the dissenting voices to review in detail the language of the African Charter to identify the substantive issues in this document instead of making unsubstantiated claims. Honorable delegates, we find ourselves to be gatekeepers for our nations at a time when the world is highly influenced by progressive woke ideology driven by nefarious entities. Anchored in secular humanism, these dangerous progressive ideologies are influencing global politics and polluting the hearts and minds of African children and youth.
James is still with me. James, there was also the caution against the current state of disunity and crisis facing the continent. Tell us more.
That was the position of the General Overseer of the Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan William, who led prayers at the beginning of this sitting. And he believed that our only challenge is not external influence on our leaders, but also the disunity or the inability of our leaders to unite to explore the resources the continent is blessed with for the benefit of their own people as one key issue that must be addressed among the leaders.
Yeah, there is no reason why our continent cannot achieve its goals. We are the most richest continent in minerals all across the nations of the world. But nations don't become great or mighty through military strength or power, through its gold, diamonds, oil, or mineral resources, but they become strong, prosperous by fulfilling and following deliberately the principles of doing right by country and by citizen. Righteousness, doing things the right way, vision, having clarity, a sense of direction. Sovereign nations must know who they are, where they are, and where they are going. And it is vision that tells sovereign nations who we are, where we are going, and what we want to achieve as a people, a civilization, or a nation. Love for country is required. It's a necessary ingredient that irrespective of our resources, our gold, our oil, and our minerals, if we fail to love country, we will achieve nothing. Visionary leadership, leaders who have a dream and a vision, like Dr. Kwame Nkrumah said in his days, that the independence and freedom of the nation of Ghana is meaningless until it is connected to the total freedom of the continent of Africa. Our independence will be meaningless. It stands to reason, as it is said, that together we are better than when we are divided. If we as a people today, in our deliberations, we realize our need of one another, that together we are better than when we are alone. And everything that divides us is an enemy to our progress. Anything that sets us apart from each other. No one nation political party's manifesto can develop and prosper a nation. As much as manifestos of political parties are good, the enemy of better is good. And we need to go past good to the place of having what is better for the good of our society, our people, our community, and generations that are yet unborn. In conclusion, I say that I have a dream. I have a dream that in my lifetime, Africa will be so developed by principles that works for us, not by principles that works for others, but by principles that works for us as we look at our culture and as individual sovereign countries, that no son and no daughter of the continent of Africa will queue for visas to go to any other nations for greener pastures. But our sons and our daughters will work and labor in our own land and our countries and achieve their dreams and goals, fulfill their desires and destiny, succeed and prosper within their own countries and their own borders, and not go to any other country to seek greener pastures. I have.
In other stories this evening, the Ministry of Health has announced that on the directive of President John Mahama, the Critical Care and Emergency Center at Bema Camp will soon be opened to the public to help stabilize critically ill patients and ease the burden on major hospitals grappling with the persistent no-bed syndrome. The initiative forms part of efforts to strengthen healthcare delivery under the free primary healthcare policy. Speaking at the 2026 Ghana Health Service Managers Meeting, Health Minister Akufo-Addo also announced plans to establish a committee of hospital CEOs to coordinate referrals and support the center's operations. The following report has more.
It is my honor and privilege, with the powers vested in me as President of the Republic of Ghana, to officially declare the free primary health care policy duly launched. Thank you.
Since the implementation of the free primary healthcare policy on 12 April 2026, government has intensified effort to shift the country's healthcare system from a treatment-focused model to one that prioritizes prevention, early detection and wellness. The policy seeks to eliminate out-of-pocket costs at the primary healthcare level and improve access to essential health services. At the Ghana Health Service Managers Meeting, which focused on advancing the free primary healthcare agenda, the Health Minister outlined a series of reforms and interventions designed to address systemic challenges and ensure quality healthcare is accessible to all Ghanaians.
There's a critical care and emergency center at the Bema camp. His Excellency the President has instructed that we open that facility up to the public, and more or less will be like a stabilization center. So once the patient is stabilized, then the traffic flows to the other hospitals. So yesterday in my office, we are forming a steering committee that consists of the CEOs of these hospitals, so that they will work well with this facility, and we do not want to get to a point where we say because there is no bed, somebody has lost his or her life.
Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Samuel Kaba, says the policy has the potential to restore dignity to many Ghanaians by reducing the need for people to publicly appeal for financial support to access health care.
These days, when you on your TV, and to me, it's even worse to see that at all times, you see somebody requesting for some kind of contribution for either kidney surgery, heart transplant, neurosurgical procedures. And I sit behind as the Director General, I watch, and I ask myself, each one of us sitting here, do we think that those that put their images on the TV, they don't have dignity? Yes, they do. Do we believe that they actually want their images to be on the TV? No, they don't. And that is why today I keep referring to the policy of free primary health care as the policy to redeem and restore the dignity of a Ghanaian.
The Ministry of Health says the free primary healthcare policy is designed to complement the National Health Insurance Scheme, expanding access to essential health services and ensuring that every Ghanaian can receive quality health care regardless of their financial circumstances. For Joy News, Mavis Kabukos reports, read to you.
The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources is placing illegal mining operations in the Elembele district of the Western region with a responsible cooperative mining and skills development program. The initiative forms part of measures to reduce illegal mining, and it's harmful impact on communities and water bodies. Sector Minister Emmanuel Akufo-Addo says the government remains determined to end illegal mining. Nanaya Ojima reports.
The Western region holds some of Ghana's largest gold deposits, but illegal mining remains widespread. In Akufo-Addo and Bokazo alone, about 800 acres of land have been destroyed by illegal miners. Minister Emmanuel Akufo-Addo spoke after handing over illegally mined land in Elembele for reclamation.
We are fighting illegal mining in all fronts. We are not only educating people to stop illegal mining, but we are also working to restore our ecosystems, to restore the heart and soul of our land. This is as if we have taken a dagger. It's the last 8 years of damage across this district.
Beyond restoring the land, the ministry wants to move miners into sustainable work. At the center of the plan is Anya Teleko Bokazo Responsible Cooperative Mining Site. It's an abandoned pit from Adamus Mining that has since been filled with water. Government and the community have deployed machines to drain it. Assembly member for the area, Francis Ewua, explains.
It adwuma we a mo kan de boa youth no ebe bomb for nananom nyina pa
se na so mo bonsu film se de na mo ye
ye bonsu no ya shense se ye bonsu me no ka se machines wo mu no aye machines nkokro.
This community mining scheme will benefit the youth and the entire community. We are currently dewatering the site. Several machines have been deployed for that purpose. The sponsors of the mining program are covering the project costs, while the ministry is coordinating all activities.
The minister also has conformed to me the Musa Asha sponsors. Emra, in your person, it be a nipa back on the sponsors. Emra, Musum from Sanshasena, Musponsor, insurance to say a fool, maybe a party, the best machine, the home of being so, the home Ajim, in Nayam Bobo, and the money and Koso.
Once drained, the site will get a clinic, offices, and changing rooms. Miners who work there have already been trained at the University of Mines and Technology, Takwa. The minister says government will fast-track the dewatering and deliver gold processing machines to Elembele.
And I also want to make comments about the progress you are making on the cooperative mining. We know that you are almost close to finishing the pumping. We are going to help fast track it. The good news is that I am pushing the first processing machines to come to Elembele to support your cooperative mining program, so that you can get more output, get more value, and empower all of you.
The community says it has accepted the new standards and is working to meet them before operations begin. Reporting for Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Western Region.
From Western Region, let's head to the Northeast Region, where the Minister Ibrahim Tia has announced that the government will establish an $18 million power substation in the region as a permanent solution to its recurring electricity challenges. Well, the minister made the announcement during the commissioning of a new power transmission line looping project at Mimima in the West Mamprisi municipality. Correspondent Eliasu Tanko has more.
6.2-kilometer power transition line connects the East Mamprisi municipality to the national grid through the Pualogu substation via Walewale, replacing the previous arrangement under which the municipality depended on power supply from the Garu and Boku substations in the Upper East region. Speaking at the commission ceremony in Mimima, the acting Upper East area manager of the Northern Electricity Distribution Company, Engineer Edward Ameka, explained that the project was designed to improve electricity reliability in the East Mamprisi municipality, particularly in the regional capital, Nalerugu.
If you want to improve your system, we call something redundancies. If you create more redundancy, it means that if there is a failure at one side, you can easily switch to the other side. So this region has the advantage of getting power supply from 3 sources. One from Garu, one from Gushegu, that's from the northern region, and another one from Wale Wale. So anytime there is a problem in any of these lines, this region can easily switch to the other one. Apart from that, Nalerigu is now a regional capital, and we need to upgrade it to a status that it deserves.
He noted that improved power supply would help accelerate the achievement of the government development agenda, including the implementation of the 24-hour economy policy. He also outlined a number of interventions aimed at ensuring reliable electricity supply across the Northeast region.
The regional minister mentioned that he is going to collaborate with the necessary stakeholders to upgrade most of the transformers to 3-phase. Upgrading the transformers to 3-phase means that you can use corn millers, you can set up small factories, you can set up small businesses.
Engineer Amega further encouraged consumers to pay their electricity bills regularly and on time, while cautioning against power theft.
Payment of bill is critical for operation. If we give you the power, you don't pay bills. If there's a problem, how can we rectify it? When poles are broken due to rainstorm, we need to replace the poles. All goes with cost. Now, the second one is power theft. That is even the worst. Because if you use the power you don't pay, at least we can still follow you until you pay. But if you steal the power, it goes waste. When it goes waste, NETCO will not have the needed resources, the needed cash or liquidity to maintain the system so that the benefit that you expect, you derive it from it.
The Northeast Regional Minister Ibrahim Tia said the project forms part of the government's broader efforts to improve electricity supply and strengthen power infrastructure across the region. According to him, the looping of the transition line would help address persistent power fluctuations and ensure a more stable and reliable electricity supply for household, businesses, and public institutions.
This intervention is expected to improve power supply reliability, reduce outages, enhance voltage stability, and strengthen overall electricity distribution within the region and adjoining communities. This will no doubt ensure effective planning and improve socio-economic conditions for our people.
He disclosed that plans are underway to establish an $80 million power substation in the region to further enhance the stability of the power network and supply economic growth through improved energy delivery.
Through the Minister of Energy, PURC, we are still appealing for the development of the substation that will take care of the entire Northeast region, which was estimated at $18 million and is still on course. We will pursue it, and at the end of it all, Northeast region will have their own reliable substation that will supply the entire Northeast region and other adjoining sister districts.
He also urged residents to use electricity responsibly and warned against illegal power connections and other forms of power theft.
We should be responsible in the usage of our electricity. Those of us in the communities, if we allow those who steal power and our power is disrupted, we all suffer the same consequences.
Elias Sutanko reporting from Mimima for Joy News.
Well, back here in Accra, the children's ward of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital caters for hundreds of children seeking medical care from across the country. However, the increase in demand for healthcare services continues to place pressure on resources at the facility. They have now taken delivery of assorted equipment, including an oxygen concentrator, suction machines, and pulse oximeters to support healthcare delivery and improve patient care. Deborah Animwa Bedu has more in this report.
The children's ward at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital depends on specialized equipment to care for critically ill children. Hospital authorities say demand remains high for essential items such as pulse oximeters, blood pressure monitors, oxygen concentrators, suction machines, and patient stretchers. It's in response to this need that former Energy Minister and former New Patriotic Party Vice Presidential candidate Matthew Opoku-Prempeh has donated a range of medical equipment to support care at the facility.
I recently turned 58, and before I turned 58, I decided, what am I going to do? Not the life of personal celebration, life of giving, service to others. So what was I going to do? So I decided I've been supporting children's home, orphanages, rehabilitation centers for the last 20 years. So I wanted to do something different. And then I remember that one of the first wards I worked on as a doctor, medical doctor, house officer in Akufo-Addo Teaching Hospital was on the children's ward. Then I got a friend to say, why don't you do a donation to the children's ward? So I sent people to come to the various wards, children's wards, oncology wards, that being means cancer wards, of Akufo-Addo and Kolebu, and ask the nurses, what is it that they are missing that will help them treat their children better? So in Akufo-Addo, we went to 5 places, B3, B4, B5, C5, and a play area. The charge nurses then gave us a list on every ward what they needed. Likewise in Kolebu. So the resources at the right time to be able to provide exactly what they requested on every single ward of the children's in Colombo, Akufo-Addo and Kolebu.
Hospital authorities say the equipment will strengthen wards' capacity to monitor and care for patients while helping frontline staff respond more effectively to emergencies.
Children who come to the Sunshine House are on treatment. This treatment will not be less than 6 months. So if you'll be housed here for not less than 6 months, people have been here for 4 years already. So these items are play items which will be there for a while for most children who come through the Sunshine House to also have a field of play with. Because you go for chemotherapy sections after every 3 weeks. So during that period, you are at home doing nothing. So these are play items which we get in place, and fortunately Honorable has come to donate some of these items to us, which definitely the children will have good time playing with them. So hundreds of children to come will have a feel of them.
They also stress that sustaining quality pediatric healthcare will require continued investment in equipment, infrastructure, and other resources needed to meet growing demand.
So he donated lots of items, lots of equipment to the Department of Child Health. They also helped to cater for some of the bills of some of the children who have been discharged.
We are so grateful. The items, the medical equipment, and other things that goes a long way to help the Department of Child Health.
As healthcare providers continue to navigate increasing patient needs, stakeholders say partnerships and support from individuals, organizations, and the wider community remain critical to ensuring children receive the quality care they deserve. For Joy News, Deborah Enimwa Beidu's report read to you.
The Ghana Leather Manufacturers Association is calling for the removal of import duties on raw materials used in the production of leather goods, arguing that the current tax regime is driving up manufacturing costs. Speaking at a news conference, President of the association, Gilbert Nteam, said it is unfair for raw materials to attract higher taxes than finished imported products. He believes a 0% import duty on raw materials will lower production costs, enhance competitiveness, and support the growth of the local leather industry.
If the government gives us the 0% duty as a raw material output, then we can also lower our production costs so that we can fill the entire continent with the Ghanaian-made footwear. Because we can produce for the schools, we can produce for the soldiers, we can produce for the military, all the state agencies. The Ghana footwear industry has the capacity to foot the Ghanaian people and also protect our economy and contribute significantly to the national GDP growth.
Well, Mr. Intim further argued that Ghana Revenue Authority has to act on the association's concerns, warning that members may resort to further action if the demands are not addressed.
As a country, we export over $40 million to China, and we import poverty back home to collapse the local footwear industry. So we are telling the GRA that we will not stop here, and we are telling the government, especially Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Finance, that if they refuse to hear our pens, they will hear our boots on the streets.
A group calling itself Ghana First Alliance is urging government to suspend the visa-free travel arrangement with South Africa in response to continuing xenophobic attacks. The group wants South African nationals to obtain visas before entering Ghana and is calling for bold diplomatic measures that place Ghana's security and economic interests first. Well, the alliance says the proposal forms part of a wider package of measures it intends to present to government through a planned national demonstration. The group also is demanding economic sanctions against South African-owned companies operating in Ghana.
Now, this is the core institutional demands and petitions we are making, even ahead of the demonstration we're seeking to have. First, licensing and economic sanctions. We demand that the government refuse, and emphasis must be placed on the word refuse, in every full massage that the word connotes. So we demand that the government refuse to renew any expired corporate or mining licenses for South African-owned companies, specifically including Takwa mines and gold-field mines, as well as any other South African corporate entities operating in our country. 2, visa policy reform. And we are adding this because I've heard some youth of South Africa say that some of the companies they have established here are for individuals who even belong to the white folks in the land of South Africa. And so as a black community in South Africa, they care less. But of course, let's see if they care less about this one. We are calling on government to make this in relation with the visa policy reform, that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs must immediately revoke the current visa-free policy for South Africa. We love our homes. We believe in African unity, however, South Africa must be exemplified. South African citizens must be required to obtain a visa prior to entering Ghana. Furthermore, the state must make bold, uncompromising diplomatic decisions that put the economic and security interests of Ghana first. And of course, was it last year, if not 2, the amount of money South Africa made from our shores is in excess of over 627 million rands, as compared to 2.9 million rands that we had from the Republic of South Africa. So if this continues, then of course, these are the measures we are suggesting to our able government.
23 women's groups in the Tamale North constituency have received support in the second phase of disbursements under a women's empowerment fund set up by the MP Al-Hassan Suhini. The One Heart Women Empowerment Fund was launched with a seed capital of 1 million cedis to support interest-free loans to women in the constituency. A similar group of 23 women benefited from the first phase when the fund was launched.
The fund, designed to support women in the Tamale North constituency with interest-free loans for small businesses, is targeting at least 5,000 beneficiaries. The One Heart Women Foundation Fund made its second disbursement in Tamale. Speaking at the event, the MP for the area, Alhassan Suhini, said more than 50% of previous loans had already been paid by beneficiaries, a rate he described as encouraging.
So an amount of about 400,000 Ghana cedis was disbursed 3 months ago. Ladies and gentlemen, the good news I have this afternoon is that out of the 400,000 that was disbursed, over 200,000 have been received, have been taken back as a result of repayment. It has been repaid. That is over 50% of what was disbursed 3 months ago has been repaid. And that has encouraged our support they get to the benefit of their business and their families.
Speaking in an interview, he said his leadership was about impacting on the lives of the people.
For me, it's about the smiles that we put on people's faces. It's the hopes that we inspire. I mean, it's the impact that we make. It's the difference that we make in the life of the people that we represent. If it is rewarded by, votes, that is, an aside. That is why I don't wait till elections before I fulfill promises that I make.
The MP earlier commissioned a 6-unit classroom block constructed by the MP with support from Carter Charity. Speaking at the commission, Mr. Suyini said the new block was not just an investment in education, but to transform lives.
This is not just an investment in education. This is an investment to transform lives. It's a 6-unit classroom block with library and with office and with 10 places of convenience. Call them toilets. 10 toilets, facilities. So this is a total support for the grooming of the next generation.
The country director for Carter Charity, Hassan Ali Ode, praised the MP for the area for his instrumental role in making the charity fund continue construction in schools and hospitals.
Let me explain it like this. And that person was the reason behind to continue doing such development projects across the whole Ghana. Maybe he's not aware about what I'm saying. At that time, we faced real challenges with the operation of these facilities, with the maintaining of these facilities, including some clinics and schools. And again, we've resulted to stop all this funding and just continue supporting the orphans and the food. But with that person, he convinced us to continue doing it with engaging the proper community leadership and the governmental officials in the proper way. Then it will result with a good operation for the facilities.
Well, that's it for The Pulse this evening. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. The news team returns at 7 p.m. with News Prime. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. Have a good evening.
This week on the Career Trail.
Given the constraints that a lot of people face, that's where partnerships become very, very important. In Tanzania, for instance, we have 1,500 employees. We launched Pinkberry in 2017. But I was like, Harvard. Ice cream Naibeton. It's a very lonely path. I've been in partnership that didn't work. We lost $500,000 in Uganda. You have to believe in some kind of superior authority to be sane.
This house was once somebody's dream. A 3-bedroom home filled with family, laughter, kids playing around. But today, it's akin to an eco park. Weeds, plants, snakes. It's all falling apart. Join me on a journey to put this house in good shape. We need to bring this house back to life. Yes, we will. Let's do this.
On PM Express, power is confronted, claims are tested, and accountability is not optional.
The first 2 months in office between January, February, and March, we had already brought down this rate, and then we have sustained it since.
Politics, business, the economy, social justice. If it affects your life, it will be examined. If it shapes your future, it will be interrogated.
You ever sitting there today and you see me sweating, I'm answering your question, you in the comfort of your chair putting all these questions to me. That is why you would not have the responsibility of bringing about this document.
No safe spaces for evasion, no comfort in half-truths, just facts, pressure, and the courage to stay with the question until the answer comes. Your word says,
my words were,
those on Compact Plus, you pay $570 and you get more channels.
Evans,
that moves you.
This is the speech.
To
the speech I read yesterday is what I'm holding here. You didn't read the speech. You didn't write it. I wrote it and I read it.
Because democracy demands scrutiny and the public deserves clarity. When the day's noise fades and the nation needs understanding, there is PM Express on Joy News. Independent, fearless, credible.
From farm to plate, do you really know what you're eating? Any glitch in the circuits of the food chain can change the price and size of what you eat. Technology has changed the face of farming, but how is Ghana plugging in? Join Jesse Aram Agbakpo, Emmanuel Bright Kweku on the food chain as they project startups in the agri sector, highlights the gains and plight of industry players while engaging with experts for more insights in agri-related issues. Food chain, everything agriculture and more, as during the Joy Business Report every Thursday at 1 p.m. on Joy FM and every Saturday at 6 p.m. on the Joy News channel, with a repeat on Tuesdays at 2:30 p.m.
Charlie, you do I bore you? I bore you. Wow, I bore you.
Oh.
How they talk to you?
Well,
I bore you.
What's up?
It be you pregnant, sister. It be you. It be you. No. Make you not do like give you some fine. I be fine guy pass you safe.
We're fine, but
yeah, that be cool.
Relax.
If you know pregnant.
Who be your sister?
If you Abena, you catch him for the other side where you talk to 1-2-1-2. No way.
Me.
It not be you.
Boss, watch me. What? I look like I just somebody will go peg your sister. I just Charlie.
No, the TV like you don't give me the real picture very well. You the same guy, the same beard, you done everything.
I know him.
So not be you.
No, my brother. Rascal guy be street boy that says you know.
So I've been to the time where they do that. No, it not be you. I mean,
it not be me. It be that guy.
The time when the guy they do that thing, you not see the guy in face.
I know him. It not be me. I the GM though, but it not be me.
But be like you become.
Once you embarrass me, wow.
Oh, good.
They pet me for the area inside. The way you just ambush me.
You go fit talk about them. I embarrass you, but you the GM too. But you two for be careful. It's not nice for ask something else to your face.
I hear you.
But you the way they me and you go feel have some conversation.
Nah, me then you not go have.
I beg you.
Nah, me then
I want to talk small. I beg you. You could talk small. I get some issue.
I hear you the top.
I will sit here. Your card is.
Nah.
But like you with my sister, then you do one like no bad. But like I got contact we get car or something. Everything good.
Everything nice, bro.
But seriously, guys, this is Let's Talk Showbiz. They don't get it twisted. This is my brother, man. Yo, I've got brothers in this industry. This is one of them. This guy, very talented. I don't know if you guys remember, he had this performance with the episode on stage where you actually depicted Rollins.
Yeah.
That guy, that day I was like, no, there's something we are not getting from this guy. Jeffrey, like, how did this start? Like, how did this thing all start? Because I know you love acting. I know you love acting.
I really do.
For you to just go into that zone, that space, and begin to, let me use the word, massacre the place. It was different.
I'm just, I don't think I started something. I think I'm just exploring. Because as an actor, you can do a whole lot of things. As an actor, you should be able to know how to rap, because depending on the script that will come, how to sing, how to ride a horse, and all that. So I'm exploring the space, and I'm not waiting for the scripts. That's the difference. I'm not waiting
for the script.
Yeah, I'm writing the stories. I'm putting down the characters I want to play, stepping in the shoes, and I'm putting them out there. So basically, that is it.
But what was that turning point for you? Because yes, I mean the film, screens, doing what you have to do. But what was that turning point? What was that turning point for you to realize the fact that okay, so now I can divide myself into these characters? Because definitely yes, you're an actor, you can play different roles. But for you to maintain that particular kind of character for a period of time, and it has suddenly come to stay.
Even my first big skits, I played 4 characters. Yeah, I represented HIV/AIDS, Ebola, Corona, and malaria. So these are diseases in a form of human beings. So I always have that Talaperi idea, and I want to play this. I want to talk to myself, all that. And also, Charlie, when I started skating, I didn't want to pressure people. I didn't want to worry fellow actors. So I said, make me now do one. I don't want to call you, go tell me, say, making me now play the characters. But so far, so good. It's been awesome.
Charlie, guy, you are doing absolutely
Thank you.
well.
Thank you so much.
Mentally, how are you able to juggle all of this?
It's not easy. I mean, you can attest to that fact. It's not, a lot goes on up here because sometimes you are dealing with yourself, you're dealing with clients, you have to deliver for them. There's a date, there's a time, and you've got your own stuff doing. So we are managing it. It's I'm writing, I'm directing, I'm producing,
you're acting.
I'm acting. So sometimes I feel to go off when I'm acting. I have to just give myself some pep talk, snap myself out of it, and deliver. Because at the end of the day, nobody cares about the labor pain. Everybody wants to see the baby.
It's true.
Nobody cares. Oh, how are you screaming? How was the pain? Obia Bissau said,
no.
So you just have to deliver. Wow. But I think people should also take it easy on us as creative, because if you buy today, you go to the next creative person and work with them.
Exactly.
So to creatives out there, take it easy. Take it easy, Charlie.
When it's time for you to go off, go off.
Go off, Charlie.
Go off.
Sometimes, Charlie, creative block. If you just go blank like that, if you just go blank, do whatever you have to do to step in this thing again, but don't do drugs.
That one day.
If you have to watch films.
That one day, don't do. I beg, if you look at me, I don't do. I'm a fine man. Yeah, like Jeffrey. Yeah.
You say you find past me for the acting inside, so you talk. So that one be script or what?
No, that one be script. Now this be me.
But you, the grey hair will be there, no. It be age or it be.
It shows that be number.
The real number.
But is it pain?
Currently, content is milking.
There's honest person to say that is milking. Some will we are not doing anything, we are not helping. Nothing is coming out.
You go feel be doctor where you no go pay.
Well,
you go feel be banker where you dey hustle. So whatever you be, it be how you position your body. They call it branding. Yeah. How you position your body and studying the space. Everything go feel pay. Everything in a way no go feel pay. Me growing up, they told me that acting doesn't pay. And I heard that when I wasn't even thinking about money. I wasn't thinking about revenue. But as I enter in, somebody said, no, I have to change my clothes.
Exactly.
I have to look good. I said, hey, I need money. That's when I realized that so content pays, strategically position yourself and market yourself in a very good way and be consistent. The fact that you're a good content, the fact that you have talent doesn't mean the whole world should look at you.
No.
I keep telling people, you are talented, so it goes beyond that. There's a whole PR game, there's a whole branding, your look, and even how you present, how you package whatever you want to present to the people. So yeah, it's paying, and it doesn't mean that I am there yet. It doesn't mean that I'm a millionaire yet, but we will get there with time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you give me the chance to actually change one thing in our movie industry, what would that be?
Change one thing
that is going to actually help.
Introduce the industry to more platforms. Yeah, to more streaming platforms, and with that, we'll produce more and we'll make more money, because the more you produce, they're producing it, we are doing it too. But the platforms, they are there, but a lot has not been introduced to us. I mean, we know of Netflix, we know of YouTube, Prime, but there are a whole lot of platforms. Employ people, because it goes beyond just producing. It goes beyond the actors. Crew day back, what they go chop. Marketers day inside, what they go chop. Editors and things. So when people talk about film, the first thing they think about is the actor. No.
It goes beyond that.
It's a whole industry.
It actually goes beyond that. I see, but people are also of the view that we are producing movies, but it's not visible enough, because then Skate is doing what they are supposed to do, but those that are actually doing the movie productions, if it's not Silver Bells, that we hear that there's something that is happening. Apart from that, we don't see our movies anywhere.
Even my problem with the film people, they are not even regarding the Skate guys. Slow down.
It's true.
You go on set for a month, 4 weeks to produce a film, but before that film comes out, we are making them laugh. We are holding them down. So I think when it comes to award shows, movie awards, and any award that has got to do with, be it film or even music
or whatever,
you should include content creators. You should include skit makers.
Makes sense.
AMA Awards, the award skit makers and content creators.
And I think AMVC recently.
Exactly. It goes a long way to tap them at the back and say thank you so much. The film guys are saying that thank you. When we go on set, you are the same people, because if not, they'll lose that love for film. So what is skit? It's a short film.
Wow. I mean, let's go to your program that is actually going to happen very soon. I think next week thereabout. I mean, I was there last year. I saw what you did. So the question I'm asking myself is, what is he going to do again?
What is he going to do again? I'm going to do better than I did last year. And let me echo it again. I'm giving you film. You don't have the film background. So I'm giving you film. It's not a skit.
Wow.
I'm giving you 1 hour, 20-30 minutes film.
Wow.
I'm giving you a stage performance, Dragon. The guy will break your
so I'm
giving you all these 3 phases. Giving it on my 100. Yes. So basically it's more like a building where you're going to receive therapy. No, we're also doing the work of the doctor.
No, but that's what people don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know that is a whole hospital.
Laughter, it might not be the pill to cure your pain, but it holds you down. You know, it controls your anxiety, your anger, and all that. It goes a long way.
Sometimes people even forget why they call it a theater. Let's go to a theater and watch it.
Yes, because problems are going to be solved there.
Exactly.
Healing is going to take place.
Yeah. So when is the date? Rate? I mean, what should we expect?
I like the rhyme. When is the date? Rate. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So this is the point where we are wrapping it up.
Exactly.
Okay. So it's on 12 June at the National Theatre. 7 p.m. sharp, no Ghana man time. Yeah, 7 p.m. sharp. It's going for a cool 200 Ghana cedis. That's a regular.
Add bet one. 200 Ghana cedis.
Because, come on, film. If you go film, you go watch movie.
Yeah.
You might pay 150 or 200 for the film. And I'm
just
giving you film.
We will give you everything for stage. Everything they stage. Yeah. In fact, if you finish, we will even interact with the person.
Most definitely. Most definitely. So, 200 Ghana cedis for regular, 300 Ghana cedis for VIP, and 350 for double.
Guy, I beg you. This is our own. You know, every time I say it's on issue, it's our own. If we don't attend our own, if we don't stream our own, if we don't watch our own, nobody watches for us. Yeah. This is a very own Jeffrey Naughty. Trust me, this guy is a brother. This guy is so good. You need to be there. I'm telling you, I'm going to be there. We are going to be there. So trust me. Jamaica is going to be there. Shatawali, that's Shatawali. Jamaica is called Shatawali. He's going to be there. We're all going to be there. Samurai is going to be there. We're all going to be there. So please make sure you're there in your numbers. Let's celebrate our brother on that very day.
Thank you.
If you look at the state of Ghana music right now, do you think we're actually going the right way? Do you think we're doing something right? Because I'm basing my fact over some few years ago. Everybody would get up and Nigeria this, and Nigeria that. 2 years, 3 years now, you don't hear that Nigerian story. It's all about Ghanaian music doing well. The Black Sherries, yourself, the Shatawalis, Stone Boys. I mean, Kojo Black now, Kelvin Boy. You're hearing names. And the young guys that are coming up are also doing something. Do you think we are actually doing? What do you think we are? In fact, what do you think we are doing right? What do you think we've been doing right? And what do you think we have to do right?
First, I think that we should applaud ourselves. Because just like you said, first you would have Nigerians dominate our charts and our airplay. But now you walk into a party, or there are even theme parties where it's only Ghanaian sound, and you hear back-to-back Ghanaian song from 80s to 60s to like contemporary artists. What I think we're doing right is we're loving what we're doing. As much as you still have few ones who want to sound like different countries, but the majority actually is like we are being proud to step out and say, I'm a Ghanaian artist, or I'm doing this. The only thing we are not doing it right, that I think I'm part of it, is owning it 100%.
Exactly.
You get it? Like, everybody wants to be in that circle of being called Afrobeat artists because that is what is ruling the world. But if we're able to own that narrative that this is who we are, this is what we represent, High Life, Ghana, that is what they can do. That is what they would not understand.
Do you think we are shying away from what was already there?
It's because I think it's because High Life has been painted to look like it's archaic. You know, and so when you're doing stuff like that, but I mean, we can still do High Life and wear the best of clothes, look like the Chris Browns, and that is the only way there will be that very uniqueness when the brand is established on a global market. You can't tell me that the Afrobeats that Burner is doing or Adekunle Gold is doing. Adekunle Gold is actually doing Fuji music, but with a contemporary touch, where you would infuse all those log drums and stuff, still having the dondo in there, which is the roots of the Fuji music, right? But his will be different. It means that 10 years from now, you still have young generations trying to use that as the roots of where they are coming from. To also find a different style to it. We cannot sing High Life like is done in the 60s. Even with that, it still moved on to a different era where they have different types of high life, like the palm wine, and then from there you have the burger high life, and then down to what we do now. So I think what we have to do is, regardless of whatever sound it is, if we're able to own it as this is who we are, that representation would actually carve another niche in the world, because our legends have done it already. From Chinchebe Dime being the most sampled song from Africa, to Osibisa, to all these legends who have done great in that space. I believe that what we can do is just own it. When we own it and document it.
That's one. Because I think one of the things that really did not help us is that now we are having people defining high life in different forms. Imagine that there was a particular kind of proper documentation of what it is. I'm sure. But thank God that now the world recognizes Ghana as the home of high life and all of those things. I've always said that most of the songs that you hear from the Kojo Blacks and Kelvin Boys and all that, it's high life they are doing. Definitely just putting in Afrobeat as a name of it, but it's high life they're doing. So I feel that kudos to you and some other few people. Shout out to Black Sheriff. You know, he tells himself that he's also a high life artist. He calls himself a high life artist.
Beautiful artist.
You know, so I feel like there's more. And one of the people that, a group of people I feel they also champion and highlight them more is also the gospel industry, because you see them play most of their sounds high life.
Their renditions, instrumentations and everything.
You know, you see that high life vibe over there, and it's doing well. And then out of high life, you give us Atia. Now you've given us Julie. Beautiful sound.
Thank you.
You know me. I mean, when I hear the things on, I'll tell you it's so nice. Look, Julie is Julie. Beautiful sound.
Thank you.
Shout out to Gomez. Like, beautiful ideation, like creativity. Did you see the artwork? Yeah, you're seeing it on the screen right now. Like, I don't want to even talk about the creativity already, because I already know what you can do. But the very day you recorded a song, and then you were listening to it yourself, did you envisage how it's going to turn into?
From the start, I mean, listening to the melodies, I knew this would be like a beautiful song. I was paying attention to, would I be able to tell that good story with the song? So that was the fear in trying to craft the song. And I'm a type of artist that I don't like revisiting my stuff too much. It takes away the beauty of the raw creativity. So that first melody that comes, I want to keep it, because wherever it came from, you will not get it again. You know, not to say that I don't want to perfect it, but most of the time, that one take, that rawness is the magic. Atia, that's what happened with Atia. The first take we did with the video, the recording, everything, that's what we kept. There was no post recording, there was no post vocals laid. It was the same thing we recorded was me and Kwabena was sitting down. And it was the same thing that I was doing with Julie. When I had the melodies and I just started recording, I didn't change any lyric till we finished the song. So the fear was trying to tell that story for people to actually get glued to. So when I finished, and then the team heard it and were like, wow, the story, like where it started from, Jamestown, all that significant places around the coast, you put it in there. I'm like, okay, then whatever I pictured is in there. And also, it was a wake-up call to try and get a nostalgic vibe to the song in blending two major eras. So if you pay attention to the song, there's that storytelling part, but there's that horns arrangement in the song, and that came from the E.T. Mensah, King Bruce era of high life, you know, which I was not born by then. But I mean, I've listened to the Ramblers, and you can tell the horns arrangement in every song, and it's unique. Then the storytelling came from the Amapino era, where we had the Maria.
Beautiful.
You know, that song is one of the songs that
classic. I think we have so many classics. I feel we've not even really explored much.
Exactly, like Uncle Delabuche was telling me that there is over 600 rhythms.
You always keep saying this thing.
We have not even touched a 1% of it. So, I mean, it will be beautiful to have different cultures, different sounds, different melodies, different instruments play, and that is the fear that these African countries or the world doesn't have. So when it's open to the world, the market is huge.
Exactly.
Big up to young artists who are on tour and trying to push the Ghana thing, from the KOGs to the Peter Somewheres to the Santrophis, the Alogotes, the Lamisis, the Chechekus, Florence Adoni, a whole lot of artists. So that alone should tell you that there is so much that we have to actually pay attention to. And that's one of the things I wanted to do with Julie, not to limit it to the language.
Or even the regular that we always hear.